Hello and welcome to the Artist Lounge podcast. My name's Sarah, also known as A Gamer Draws, and I'm joined once again by the lovely Michael Steffen, also known as Funisher. We're going to do a little bit of a shorter show today, as I'm not feeling 100% and I got MCM over at the weekend. Yay, I can see people saying hi. So you can chat in the little chat, is it that side of me on the video? And chat about whatever, ask us questions, and start drawing along with us. But if you need to put links or anything, I've also got the Artist Lounge podcast thread up, which is go to the Reddit and then you'll see that we've got a new post up there, and also the RedditGetsDrawn that we're going to do, which we'll say in a minute. But yeah, how is everyone? Sarah has the plague, thank you. Lovely.
It's back.
It is back.
Bigger than ever. Just remember, it's not the rats. It's the fleas on the rats.
It's true. It's true. I learned that in primary school.
Exactly.
It was your birthday this week.
It was. Big
Happy
time.
Birthday.
Yeah, big 32, you know. Big, you know, just powering into the 30s. Lots of life lessons. For example, I had to go through my my Story of the Booty funk playlist on Spotify, and I had to really make some big decisions. And I decided that I need to stick with a more synthy bass in my playlist, and I had to really make some hard decisions. Had to eliminate some really good stuff in there. It's like, I'm sorry, I had to say bye to James Brown for this one, and Fela Kuti and William Onyeabor. They're kind of, well, I might keep him, but for the most part, you know, to say the least, it was a hard weekend. You know, those are big life decisions. They don't come easy. But you know what? I think it will make for a stronger Spotify playlist, and I'm excited as the editing process continues.
Spotify is like a big deal to you.
That's just, I mean, let's say that, you know, my life is full of a lot of dramatic conflict, that being one of them. Just constant life lessons, you know. It's kind of like that. Yeah, you know, you're learning to let go. That's what the big lesson there is what do you let go? What can you? I am always eliminating from my art, right? How do I make it better? Now I got to do that with music, you know. What do you take away? What do you take away in your life when you enter your 30s, right? You know, you take away the brevity of a hangover, and suddenly it becomes kind of an event for a while. What used to just be, you know, I feel kind of sick, turns into, I think I'm just kind of sick now. That's just who I am.
What, just in general?
Yeah, you know, you just kind of like, you know, I just kind of feel tired all the time, and then, you know, and then you get new additions like butt sweat, like that's new. Didn't that used to not be a hangover thing, but now that's like a part of life that you just deal with, you know.
Wow.
Where that came from. That's no longer a summer event anymore. That's also like a drinking event now too. So little things, you know, little things that you admit about yourself online to people forever.
I mean, to be fair, there's only 5 people watching right now, so you're right. It's not too bad.
Yeah, I don't see how anything a small comic can come back to bite a person in the ass later. That never happens on the internet. I have to cancel all my plans for running for political office now.
Yeah, because of butt sweat.
A butt sweat comment.
Is that our new catchphrase?
Butt sweat?
Yeah.
I have a feeling there's going to be a drawing I'm going to have as my screen next week involving
yeah.
You know, life with butt sweat. And the older viewers will understand. I'm sure Demon Man's there right now. It's like, you think all that stuff's weird. Wait till your next decade and what new adventures you find there, you know. I'd also mentioned before, I kneeled once at work 2 months ago and my knee still hurts. That's a weird one. You know, little things. But it's all worth it, you know.
I look forward to that time.
Smarter, wiser decisions, better Spotify playlists.
I don't even have Spotify.
You know, I think it's good to have like a Spotify or a Google Music. They're pretty much the same. I don't know. Or you just go on YouTube and you just URL to MP3 songs, and then you buy something from the artist you like. Those small independent artists trying to cut their way. If you don't buy an album, buy a shirt, go see their show, support them somehow, do something, and then larger stuff. I mean, here's the thing: is like there's you dig for old albums that who knows who owns the rights to that now. You dig something that's like 40 years old, and it's like some obscure band that released like one album and they had like 2 awesome tracks on it. I mean, I don't think you need to feel the pressure to try to go see them live at this point, because they probably don't exist anymore.
No.
But for the up and comers, go support them.
My brother just showed up and he was like, "I chose a great time to drop in."
That's pretty much what you say anytime
anytime you're talking.
Either stupid or embarrassing, at least once every 10 minutes, and usually it's a little bit on purpose. I like to mix it up a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Cool. I've been going through the old podcasts and I've just been like, where's all the times where Mike talks for ages about something really random?
And then you just realize that it just kind of happens as a constant stream of conscious, maybe mid-sentence, just switching it up. It
just doesn't stop. There's like, I've got Adobe Premiere up and there's just like little bleeps all the way through where it's like all the times you were talking about randomness.
Talking to my markers and pens.
Folly Miser says, "What's that new cool painting behind..." Oh no, Meta Baron says, "What's that new cool painting behind Sarah?" And Folly Miser says, "Looks like a poster for her books. She mentioned working on stuff for a con." Yep, so I've got MCM, which is essentially London Comic Con, this Friday till Sunday. And this guy... This is the banner that sits behind me at the convention. I thought I'd bring it out, so if anyone in chat is going to come to the show, you can spot this guy and you'll be able to find me. This is Nick's from my books, and then that's the Spire. So this is all like a location from the books. So if you want to find out more about this, go buy my stuff. I've got some prints as well to show people that arrived today, which is really cool. So if you want to see that, I can show that. Should I show that now or at the end? What do you reckon?
For me, I go either way. I don't know. Do we keep the suspense until the end, or do you want to do it now in case people drop out as it goes, if they get tired, if it's late?
I can do it now. Otherwise, like in case
a little bit of both.
A little bit. Oh, well, I'll do 2 now and then 2 at the end. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally, okay. Do that.
Okay, so I'm doing a series called Escape. The idea being that the character wants to get from one place to another for whatever reason. And I'll be doing more explanations as to what's going on in them later on at like MCM and that. But I'll show you 2 of the pieces that I've got. So I have this one. There we go. Jump in. She's like a guitarist kitsune. And then I'll show you this one, which is called Dreaming of Summer. There we go. It's hard for me to like see and get the right angle, but there we go. So those are 2 of the prints that I'll have with me. I'm going to have a whole bunch of them. I've got 4 designs that have arrived today, and I should have 2 more designs arriving later in the week. So we'll have 6 big pictures for MCM, and then I've got the books, and I'll be doing live drawings, so plenty of stuff for you to join in on. My hair's like freaking out. Oh my god.
Yeah, I know how that feels.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Sometimes my scalp just gets all over the place. I look like a John Crick-Falusi cartoon.
My brother just said, "I'm in London, but I'm not going to MCM Expo because screw being around other people."
There you go.
Oh my
it
god.
goes either way, you know. Sometimes it's a nightmare being around people, and then sometimes it's awesome. It's all just about how you be around people, you know.
To be fair, if you go to MCM, there are a lot of people. I think there was 110,000 people at the previous event. And
In
this
one day,
one, huh?
like per day, like 110,000 people come through.
Over the 3 days was
Oh.
110,000 people. And then this one, usually on the Friday, it starts at about 2 or 3 p.m. But
Hmm.
this time it's starting at 10 a.m., I think. So we might have even more people. I don't know. It's going to be crazy.
Oh my god, that sounds like a total madhouse.
Oh, Follomizer says, how do you estimate how many copies of prints to bring? Sorry, I like ruined trying to read that question. I'm so tired. um, it's kind of hard. It's a lot of trial and error for a lot of them, like the books and the prints, everything. It's a lot of trial and error. And different shows you're going to want different amounts, and obviously, um, you might find that people really like one particular thing and then really don't like another thing, so you end up with loads of one thing left over. Um, I try to see what is the most cost effective. That's where I kind of like draw the line. So if I didn't sell any of these, it doesn't matter, that kind of thing. So I'll try and look at what point, if I sell them at a certain price range, do I need to meet where I'll have made back all of my money already. Um, so I'll get a high enough amount so that I get a small uh, cost, because the more you order, the more the cost goes down because they just reduce it for you. Um, so I'll get a decent amount, somewhere around 50 to 100. I've actually ordered 200 prints so far, and I've got another 100 arriving later in the week, but those won't all be sold at MCM, because I've got second MCM. I've got Manchester MCM in July, I believe, so those will be for that as well. But yeah, it's a lot of trial and error, really. Some people say that you should bring like just a tiny little collection, and bring like 20 of each to see which ones sell, but personally for me, because MCM's like the big one, I try to get like a nice chunk, like a stack of them like that, and then bring part of them with me at the beginning of the day, and then like the first 2 days, and then bring the other half on the last day. So yeah. Yeah, Follymizer says the volume discount, yeah, basically. The books is the harder thing to figure out, because you don't want to be left with a ton of books in stock, but it's really hard to get a decent price with books, because you need to be able to. There's a lot of costs that you don't expect with books after they've been printed, because not only have you got to pay for the cost of the actual physical printing, you also have to pay to have it distributed to wherever you need it to go. Any packaging or anything like that, although you can usually keep that outside of those costs. And also there are certain places where it has to go, like libraries and stuff like that, so it can be like officially registered. So you need to keep those kinds of costs in your mind. And also, if you sell it at a brick and mortar bookstore, they'll have prices that they'll take off, like they'll say we want a 30% cut of every sale or something like that. So you have to keep those costs in mind, so you get the cost price of the book as far down as possible so that you still make a profit, but then you realise that to be able to do that you've got to order 1,000 copies or something like that. So books is really, that's the hard one. Prints you can usually find really cheap prices, and then you just get as many as you can for as little cost as you can, and then see how many you can sell. If you're travelling far, it's kind of recommended to keep between 20 to 50 that you're taking with you. But because it's London and I live in Essex, I'll probably be taking like 100 prints with me or something like that, like a ridiculous amount. But yeah, hope that helps. Do you have your books available in brick and mortars? No, I don't. It can be put into brick and mortars because I've got it properly published and everything, with the barcode. but I just haven't I haven't properly gone into all of that kind of stuff, just because one, there is the cost on top of it, and two, I don't have anyone representing me, so I'm the one who has to walk up to like WH Smith or whichever like big store like Waterstones, and I have to talk to them. A few times I've spoken to them and they've just been like, maybe in the future, but we need to see more. Like, a lot of them, they won't accept something unless they know, they guarantee that the whole collection's going to be available and things like that. So it's not currently available in brick and mortar stores. It should be available on their online things though. Like WH Smith's, you can actually find my books on their website, but for some reason you can't order it. I think it's because I don't have a distributor. Like, I'm the distributor. I go out there and I package it and I post it to everyone. Like, I hand wrap it and everything. So because of that, they don't have it sitting in a warehouse. So they can't say that it's sending from them. Amazon has the same issue. So because I haven't sent it to a fulfillment depot for Amazon, they can say the book exists and you can buy it, but just not from us. So it says like out of print or something, which is rubbish. That's not true. But whatever.
Oh, that's bad if it says out of print, though, because then people might think it actually is out of print.
Yeah.
Does Amazon, is it possible, do you know how you can do the self-publishing thing through Amazon? Like, my brother uses that for his books. Do they do that with comics and graphic novels?
I think it's exactly the same thing. But the issue is that it's already self-published. Like, it is a published book. If I publish it in another form or by another company, it then has to have an entire new set of paperwork.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So it's not that route I can't take because I've already published it. There are I've managed to get it working on the American Amazon, but I can't post through their fulfillment agency because the fulfillment place, whatever it's called, because it costs like £1,000 to get the books to America, and by that time I've basically eaten up all the profit I would have made from selling any of them anyway. So
the cost of the book. That's the thing, because books are heavy, and that really makes things super expensive to ship them.
Because you've got the books, haven't you? Like, they're quite weighty. So yeah, it doesn't really work. My brother says, same thing with my science textbooks. Lots of them appear on sites like Amazon's and Waterstones, but they aren't actually sold by them. Yeah, that's exactly what's happened with the book. So because I'm the one who sends it out, it just registers as not there, even though you can see it there. It's weird.
I wonder if you shipped out a bulk amount by by a freight forwarding company and had it come by boat, if it could actually be cost effective to do. Because if you ship by air, if you're sending something that's 50 pounds worth of books, that could be pretty expensive.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it via kind of slow boating it over using a logistics company kind of taking care of that and the importation, that might make it a little more affordable. I'm not sure.
That might be something that I can look into. But it's just whether people are going to buy it as well. Like, if I spend all that money to get it out there and about 5 people buy a book, then it's not cost effective.
Yeah.
If I know that there's a big market in a certain place, then it is worth going for it. But it's all basically the distribution. That's the big issue.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking with the one Amazon thing, because it's always print on demand, and then they do it through there, and then someone buys it, they print it and send it. But that's that's a whole different system.
Yeah, and I'd have to basically.
You have to republish it under their thing.
Yes, I'd have to. So when you become a publisher, you get a set of numbers. You get 10 numbers or something, and that means that you can have 10 books that register to a number. So if I did that, I'd have to give a new number to one.
Yeah.
Essentially. So I essentially eat up one of my 10 books as a publisher.
Yeah.
What are Waterstones? Waterstones is one of the big bookstores in the UK. So we used to have Borders, but they shut down. So Waterstones is probably the biggest that we've got left, other than the Barnes and Noble and them lot. But you never see them anywhere. You only see them in London.
Yeah. I didn't know. I didn't realize Borders was in. I guess I should figure Borders was international. Actually, I didn't even know Barnes and Noble was international. I don't know if they were when I worked for them back in the day. And I knew how they because I worked in shipping, so like I was like the guy that was like receiving all the boxes of books from Barnes and Noble. So like, yeah, yeah, I was mailing books around. I was the guy that like received all the Harry Potters and set them aside, and it was like I'm not allowed to open this box or I'll lose my job. I could have been the guy that could have like leaked one, but I didn't. I could have, but I had the chance to be that guy on from Harry Potter from the second book on. I could have ruined everything. I had that power in my hands, but
But you stayed on the light side. You were good.
yeah, I stayed on the light side. Could have easily gone to the dark side there, but whatever.
Should we start drawing? I think we should start drawing.
I don't even think we should draw anymore. Let's just.
Nah, you done. It's like
I looked at the photo and I don't even care anymore. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, let's do it.
wow.
I should and I should also message. We should tell the people who we're drawing here, and I will send them a message letting them know that they are being drawn.
Yeah, so I guess
So they just realized what we do.
I'll let people know which one we're drawing. Oh, wrong button. There we go. So it's called "Dyed My Hair Blue Today. Consider drawing me?" ? It's by Nena Memes. NENAMEEMZ. And if I refresh to find out where it is, if you go to the front page of RedditGetsDrawn, I think it's number 9. But there's someone else actually live streaming. Hallygasm is currently live streaming, so this one's going to have dual live streaming, which should be pretty fun. But yeah, I'm going to be drawing the first picture in the selection, but feel free to pick whichever ones you like. I'm going to jump over to my other screen, if I can find the correct buttons to do it. Screen share. There we go. Desktop 1. Start screen share. There we go. I need to figure out how to like arrange my screen. Me. Polymizer asks, Sarah, have you noticed differences between the different streaming services, Picato, YouTube, etc.? Yes, the biggest one, the biggest difference really, is the fact that on Picato I have to have this little guy, OBS, which I think sounds like a disease. OBS. Turn hiding on. So to be able to stream to it, so essentially like and it's the same with Twitch as well. So you use the OBS system and you tell it stream to this location, and then you go to the website and you can see it appear there. Whereas with Google Hangout, so YouTube, it all does it in its own program. And there's pros and cons to both of those. So I think the biggest pro to using OBS rather than in program is probably the fact that you have way more control over the settings. The biggest pro for having it like Google Hangout, where it's all its own thing, is that it's way less of a headache to run. And like the most annoying thing for me is because I use Twitch and Picato now, I can't figure out a way to tell it to remember 2 different locations. Like every time I set it up, I have to tell it, right, you're streaming to this location now, which means finding my stream key and all of that rubbish. So that's kind of annoying. Metabaron, there is actually sound on Picato. It's just I choose not to put the sound on for that one just because that's the one where I'm just like relaxing and getting used to stuff and chilling out. Whereas this one is the one where I'm chatting and hanging out with you guys. So you can actually put sound on that. The audio changed. Did it? Did the audio change?
It might have changed a little when I jumped in. I had 2 different audios going. Does it sound weird right now?
Sounds fine to me. Chat, let us know if either of us sound bizarre. I don't know.
Yeah, it got weird. Like for the first time now, when usually there's some type of technical error when I switch over to the other thing, and this time I actually had 2 audio. So for some reason, instead of having one muted audio channel for the headphones through the microphone, now when I went in, I had one audio channel for that was muted and a separate one for just my normal computer speakers. So I had to tinker with that for a minute. So hopefully that's worked out now.
Sounds fine to me.
Sarah's voice sounded clearer and closer. Uh-oh.
Oh, maybe I'm leant forward. How does that sound?
Now, as in it's better now. Ah, all right.
Okay.
Good.
Well, that's fine then. I didn't do anything different.
I was worried that I ruined everything. I got my cords tangled up. 1 minute.
There was a second question as well. What was it?
Yep, there we go. Always untangle your cords before recording. Come on, Mike. And
oh my
your
god.
keys.
What are you doing?
Come on,
number 2, Folly Miser. Have you guys joined the RGD Artist Network? I do not know what that is.
Are you talking about the Reddit Artist Network? Because we had the Reddit Artist Network that was a big part of that now.
Oh no, how do I not have that happen?
What happened?
For some reason, the messages from Google Hangouts are like showing up on my screen.
On your screen?
Yeah, they're like popping up in the right-hand corner. I don't know why.
Oh, it doesn't look like it's happening in the stream, which is good. But I don't know if that's going to distract you from your drawing.
Well, I don't mind, but I don't know if people...
Oh, it's not like the thing where you had that like beep going every 2 seconds?
It's just that I don't want people to like read people's messages in case people don't want their messages to be read. I don't know.
I don't see them on the stream, so I think you're clear from that.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's the Reddit Artist Network, which is the primary driving force of that is the Tumblr right now. And that was a big part of Meaty Elbow and Mac Anthony posting. People would, if you hashtag in your Tumblr, a handful of different Reddit art subs, they would reblog it for you. And there's, and it's still active now. And it's a good resource. So anytime you're in Tumblr, if you hashtag Reddit Artist Network, they can reblog your art for you. And we did it with Instagram for a while, but the problem we kept running into with Instagram is there was more than one of us doing it, and from different locations and countries and IPs, and Instagram would keep locking us out, and then you have to like re-sign in and do it. And Instagram's not naturally a platform where you reblog, so then you had to get like special apps to do it or go through the whole saving it on your screen and cropping. It just wasn't really a good format for it. So that just kind of faded off just with the, it's the kind of thing where normally in life, something like that wouldn't be a big deal. But when you're like juggling so many things at once, those little extra efforts you had to put in eventually just made it like, it just became kind of a hassle, like, which was a little bit unfortunate because Instagram is a good platform for art because it's mostly people that, I like it a lot because it's mostly people that aren't artists, which it's great to be on a platform that's primarily artists, which would be more like Tumblr, or at least people there creatively. But, Instagram's great because you're reaching a wider audience. Really, it's best just to use both. But yeah, unless you're referring to something else that I'm unaware of, which could be entirely possible. So, but in case it was the Reddit Artist Network, that's what's going on there.
Folly Miser says, I've used the hashtag Reddit Artist Network before, and it seems neat. But I was referring to the RGD Artist Directory as referenced in It Will Be Mine's last SOTU.
Yeah, the State of the Union.
Post in Reddit Gets Drawn. I'll be honest, I didn't read it. I read
definitely
a little bit
do
of
that.
it, but
you should definitely do that, because what that's going to be is pretty much a directory that of artists that are regulars on RGD. And what it will do is it will link to a portfolio of 10 images of your work, and then also say if you actively take commissions. That means, because a lot of people ask it, will be mine directly, hey, do people take commissions in here? And before, she was kind of in this awkward spot where, yeah, sure. And if they want referrals, it's like, well, how does she choose? There's so many artists that she likes. She doesn't want to give, she's in a certain conflict where she can't just like pick people, she wants it to be so, and, so they can look and browse without any bias or anything. So the idea of this is they can refer someone to this, and this person can find the artist they like and contact them, or they can browse for the different types of art and styles they like and are interested in and look for commissions. So this could be potentially a really good resource for getting commissions. I would highly suggest doing it. And it takes, I think it was Hey Ryan that's setting it up. I hope I'm not mistaken which mod, but they put together a nice little kind of like survey kind of formula thing. You just fill out the few little spots in the form that's there, and it's really easy to do. And I think it's a good idea. I don't know what it's going to look like yet or whatever, but it takes very little effort to do it, and it's either it will lead to commissions or it won't, but it's so easy to be a part of.
You might as well.
To me, and yeah, you might as well. Like, why restrict yourself,
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember when they first announced that, I was just like, sure, and jumped right on board there, because why not?
My arm aches. I don't know why.
Allison Hall, I got super excited when I got reblogged by Reddit Artist Network, like unnecessarily excited. That's fun, It's like, it's fun to get shout outs.
So we actually haven't chatted. Usually we come up with things that we want to chat about, but we haven't really chatted much this week because I've been ill and you've had life.
Yeah, life and illness. There's I don't know. I've been going way in my head this week. Sometimes when I go away in my head, I take a step back and I just I've been thinking a lot that the idea just branch into different places. I find solace in sometimes just randomly doing drawings on pretty girls' ugly faces, because it's fun to draw people making faces, and they're always really appreciative to receive a drawing. So just going in there, and then and then I think a lot about big picture. I just what's the big picture, Mike? What is art on the internet? What's happening in the art world? What do you believe in? Asking those big questions. What do you believe in? What's happening out there? What do you think's happening versus what is actually happening? And I think along the lines of the my head will if I think too much about the business of art, because I think a lot about this when I lead almost what feels kind of this double life in my presence in the art world, where there's all these different roles I'm kind of in at once. And it can be really confusing because on one hand, I'll work a day job from a gallery that deals with very much kind of high-end sales. And I'm dealing with, and I'm not a sales consultant there. That wouldn't work. But I am I work in kind of the support and the logistics and shipping and kind of the behind the scenes and administrative area of it. And I've been doing that job for a long time. And then you get off work, and then I have my own gallery and studio space in Oakland, which is kind of the little kind of, hip little indie venue of art, and studio space. And then I come home, and then I'm online, and then there's the whole online life. And it's leading these different roles in life. And it's amazing how lots of similar rules will apply. But at the same time, and this isn't even actually including the fact that also trying to be an artist itself and make art. These are all business things that are not even related to my own work and my own creative pursuit. But it's interesting the parallels you see, but then also the differences and what you get out of one and the other. I don't know. I don't know if you ever find yourself in this kind of the weird division of being in, you want to kind of reach out to different areas of art, but it can be almost confusing as to find your own identity in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's more like I think sometimes you find your place, but you don't believe it. Is that weird?
No, that I totally, no, I totally can understand that.
So like, I work really well at conventions and I love conventions, but I kind of want to do gallery work because that feels like that's what real artists do. And then I'll try to talk galleries and then they don't understand me at all. They're like, no, you copy and pasted that. That's not real art. That's digital. What is this? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, And it's like, why am I fighting to go to this place that doesn't understand my stuff at all when I've got a perfectly fine place elsewhere where my artwork does well? But what's my brain doing there?
That is so relevant to kind of like where this was going in my head. And I realized we've been taught what, because I always came up with these preconceived notions of art. Because I'm always chasing that kind of quote fine art, high art world. Yeah. Because it's what you read about as a kid. It's what made it into the books. It's what was published in art history. And then over time, I'm slowly realizing it's been really fascinating to see that because even in my day job, there's they're kind of doing their own transition. They're transitioning from more of a commercial art gallery to more high-end modern art, not contemporary, but particularly modern art. And that's those are two very different businesses. One was selling prints, multiple editions in prints, usually in kind of touristy areas, and then switching to the market where you start becoming a part of trying to earn that kind of high-class cred of, which now is obsessed with auctions and fairs and all that, even more so than museums. It seems like they want the prestige of the museum, but they almost want it because the prestige adds, they want a little bit of that thing. It's kind of like this power struggle. Like they want the prestige of the museum to solidify them into this kind of place of permanence, but also because it boosts your value to auction. And but now it's like watching that game unfold. And really, all that still feels so temporary to me. When I see the high-end art world now, it doesn't feel like this place of permanence that like, oh, this is it for the history books. It feels more like I'm watching people like invest in the housing market before the crash. It feels there's more money than ever flying around in it. There's a really good documentary. I'll put a link in the Artist Lounge subreddit. There was a BBC documentary a guy did on the art market right as the economy collapsed, but it was specifically about the auction and the market and the high art world and all the kind of things going on with guys like Damien Hirst and Jeff Koons and all that madness. But what was interesting is the art market briefly dipped when the economy tanked. It went up when the economy first crashed, because then all these hedge fund guys and everybody were throwing their money in art, trying to protect it and being concerned of things like regulation and whatnot. And then not too long after, it went down a little itself, but it shot right back, just like housing and everything else. It came right back and it's bigger than ever. And that was, I don't think a lot of people thought it would recover the way it did, and just already it's back setting records. And the reason it sets records is because it's unregulated. That's why. It's not, that whole world that's for like maybe another show as I completely sort out my thoughts on that, but it is ridiculous. It is madness, but it's enough where, the, I don't know what the old saying is about the wool, the wool in front of the eyes or whatever. But once it's or the veil's been lifted, but you kind of get an idea. You start realizing we always were taught that this part of the world's so permanent, and we hold it in such high regards to even artists themselves that work in different fields or mediums, whether it be comics or games or however, you're stuck fighting this thing to earn the respect of high art and fine art. And even when you're doing a thing and it's even could be going well, you'll still question yourself. Should I be trying to get in a gallery? Should I establish myself in a museum? Am I doing real art, you know? And then even when you know what you do is art, you still kind of have a part of you deep inside that wants to earn that cred of the quote high art world. But it's like, when you really think about it, it's been taught to you that this was high art for so long. It was always taught. Like, it was never, there's nothing about it. And I can assure people there is nothing about that world that is more, you know, that deserves more recognition of skill or praise than anything else that's happening in these other mediums. It's just that it's been around longer. But at the same time, the narrative of it is being so manipulated right now and exploited. And I think it's in an act of desperation. I honestly think that that right now in the art world, unknowingly and not intentionally, the way art is being taught is a means of stratification against the artist. It's used to, the only reason that one art is good and one isn't, or that this style is good and this isn't, or this is what a composition should look like. Because anytime you think, oh, well, this is an aspect of design, we treat it as fact. And really what it is we're looking at for the most part out here, our Western viewpoint on what constitutes good design, you know? And then that's taught to us. And now there's this set of parameters. Oh, art should look like this. This is what a design element looks like. This is what composition should be. And what ends up happening is now you've learned this system, and now you are you know, bound by the dogmas of it. And this goes way deeper into the business of it. And so now you learn this set of parameters. You are now contributing to this machine of it, and like against your own will. Like, I'll feel like that sometimes. I'll say, oh, this, you know, I could say this painting sucks because of these reasons. But then it's like, what? It's not constructive. It's just not constructive. I didn't come up with that set of rules. That set of rules was there because someone else had a job where someone paid them to say, hey, you need to find, is this art any good? And they needed to make up reasons why it was or wasn't so they could keep their job. You know, it had very little to do with it itself. We made a whole, you know, and it's such like a loose science at best. You know, I would hold it to pretty much the same regard we should hold together like a new agey spiritualism, where we're just kind of winging it. It's like, oh, I sit quietly for a minute and then just see if your brain randomly decides if it was good or not, you know, and then make up some rules why it wasn't or why it was. But we contribute to that. And then when we make these ideas, now we have ideas we can use against other people, and then it divides the artists. And now that the artists are divided, now you have a movement. This movement believes this, this believes this. Well, we can market now. Now we can market that this movement has these set of ideals, and now that can be packaged and sold. So I see a lot of where art is and where it's coming from in this battle that we need to be in this certain respected area as some kind of a indirect result and effect of capitalism. And I don't mean that in the, you know, this isn't like, this doesn't mean I'm like squatting in a building with like 9 kids and we're going to go smash windows tonight. I don't mean it in like the anarchistic kind of way, but I mean, that's just a result of our culture and economy, trying to put things in trying to categorize, because when you categorize something, you can start marketing it and selling it.
Yeah.
And I think we're kind of in the effect of that. And now that those aspects move so fast in these times, and it's being so widely accepted, I bring up the idea sometimes. I've brought it up in the Arts Lounge in the past, the idea of selling out, and I took a lot of heat. I took so much heat from that. And I didn't mean it in regards of like accusing someone of making a living. I meant it in regards of, are we facilitating kind of a culture of putting definition on things simply for the simplicity of making it easier to understand, but at the cost of our letting go of our own beliefs and our own experiences, letting other people kind of define what means something to us. So yeah, so that's the kind of thing I think about when I draw pretty girls making silly faces.
The
I don't even remember how that rant started. I just kind of
I
went
don't
off
even
there
know.
for a minute.
I was just quite happy to listen to that. It's not something. It's not something I face. The only thing that I faced was something that you didn't even mean to say. Like you said that you got a lot of heat for saying something along the lines of selling out, and people took it as making a living is bad, which obviously is not what you meant.
Yeah.
But that's actually, I wonder if the reason why the reaction to that was so harsh is because that is something that a lot of us deal with, where the fact that because you're making money and you're successful, all of a sudden your art isn't as valid, and or that you don't deserve certain things, or it's strange, but that's definitely something that I've faced in the industry. Interestingly, David says, going back to you talking about the galleries struggling, he says, I walk past Somerset House in London, a high arts epicenter, fairly regularly, and they seem to be turning to experiences over the displayed art themselves. I haven't been to any of them, but they have themes of art from multiple artists rather than a singular one. During the day, they have special lunch things like dainty tea and cakes. Which is kind of interesting. It's like trying to, rather than you trying to sell straight up like you need to buy the art, it's here's an experience for you to enjoy. Oh, by the way, there's art here.
It would seem to be making an event of it, and also installation art would seem to play a role in that. They always argued installation art's the art that, like, well, we make it because it can't be sold. I was like, no, I think it is made because, I mean, I don't think it's not in, I don't mean this in like one art's better than the other, or accusations that I don't look at these things like it's a big conspiracy. I look at it as a natural evolution of a system, and where are we in the system. And I find that especially in the contemporary fine art world, I think it's kind of floundering around trying to find it. I think it fell into postmodernism, and that was this self-reflective hole, and suddenly everything you did now was a reference to something else. Instead of feeling new, it all felt referential. And if you, like, for example, if you look back to old issues of Art News, what you end up seeing is so many of them are always the big headline things, always the new fill in the blank, you know, the new surrealism, the new pop. And it was never just new, but that became the goal. We needed to appeal to people by finding something new. And so it's funny you mentioned the event thing. I'm wondering how you, like, as a whole, did you find it, that feeling of seeing the event as because it can be fun, but does it feel almost like this this desperate attempt to relevancy, you know?
He says
at night
go ahead, read it.
At night they have big events with many people in tuxedos leaving with champagne from the main art exhibition rooms. Yeah, I mean, you know, they had to. It's like if you go, you know, open up an art forum, and lots of it, you'll just see photos of people at art openings. It's pretty much ads and photos of people at openings more than anything else. But I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily bad or what it all means. And I don't even know if it's different. I know elements of this have always been like this, but I think you can definitely see there's elements of the art world now that are most certainly not the same, you know. I don't know. I don't know where that's all gonna go. But I feel like it is having an identity crisis, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. But I really hope to see some of those standards start to fall away. I don't know. Do you working so deeply in the comics field, do you find yourself, because I know there's the idea that comics have spent a lot of time trying to battle for kind of recognition as fine art, and it's finally coming around to be recognized as a form of fine art and as a form of literature. In your own experience, how has that battle felt to you in this?
It really depends on who I talk to, because the people who I talk to are people who understand the medium. Okay, so a lot of the time I'm talking to someone who deems video games as a form of art, and who buys artwork and comics and goes to conventions. So I'm not usually faced with someone too different from myself, if that makes sense. So there's not really an argument that I have to have. However, I do have moments where someone who doesn't know my area of the world will look at me like I'm a nutter. They'll look at me and they'll be like, okay, you're an artist, all right, then tell me what you do, and I'll explain it, and they'll just be like, and people buy that? Or they'll just be very, very confused about the whole concept. And that tends to be people who are more interested in the gallery world and like have no interest in the comics or online, things like that. But it doesn't feel like, it kind of feels like they would never be my audience anyway, so I don't need to justify myself. The people who are interested get it, and I don't feel like there's any fight with them. So I don't know. I think it's like you choose the battles that you want to take, and I've never had to choose a battle with someone trying to justify what I do, because it's just been like, well, you'll never be interested, so I'm going to walk away. Like, that's just going to happen. There's going to be people who will never get what I do, and that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
but
and it can only,
if you're talking about if you go to more in general, so not specifically the comics and stuff, I do constantly feel like, well, I need to have a proper style, and I need to make artwork that means something or says something, so that I can be on par with the artists that I look up to. That is something that I feel a lot, where I feel like I want to make gallery quality, but with the themes of the conventions that I'm used to. So that is something that I wrestle with a lot. I don't know. It's something that I question myself a lot with.
I see a lot of people always, especially in the artist lounge, it comes out a lot. People are always asking, how do I find my style? And I was thinking, literally every person who's ever asked, how do I find my style, was either just learning, like brand new to drawing and painting, or they already had a style and they just didn't know. Like, I would recognize their art from a mile away. It'd be like, oh, that's them. I wouldn't even have to look at their name, and I would know which artist it is, because they already have a style. And then either that, or they were so new to it, they just haven't. They just need to practice their techniques more, and it will come up. I don't know. It's interesting that style is kind of taught as this idea that you have to actively pursue it. And really all you need to actively try to pursue are just good ideas and hard work. And then the style comes with it. The style is just how you react to your environment and the decisions you make in your art. How did you choose to draw this thing? How did you choose to solve this art problem? Yeah, it's just the choices you made, and you have to make choices. So inevitably, and so your style can be influenced by so many things, even beyond art. It could be influenced by how you was raised, or it could be just influenced by the weather. I mean, it's just the decisions you make. You have limitations you have. Your style might be influenced because you always use this certain set of pens because they were $3 cheaper at the art store than the other ones. And maybe the pen does a weird little mark if you hold it a funny way, and now you hold your pen differently, and that's going to be a determinant of your style too. I
think the reason why that's one of the questions that's asked a lot is because if you want to be an artist, you want to make money from it. basically. Like a lot of people might not admit that, but you do. If you want to be an artist, then you want it as a career. And that might not be because you want to make money. You just want to be able to do it forever. But that means you have to make money, right? And the thing you always hear is that the people who make the money, like as a concept artist, as a cartoonist, like all of these things, the people who your name, like their name means something and they succeed, they have a quote distinctive style that's why they get hired, because they go, oh, I want Destiny's Blues work because I know exactly what her work looks like, for example, or I want Yume's work because it looks exactly like what I know Yume's work looks like. And I think that's what people are striving for. When they ask about the style, they don't want to hear, we'll just carry on working. They want to hear, work on this specific thing so that you can create something quickly, so that you can become an artist and you can make money off of it. And I think
what they want a brand.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's fine, but it's I mean, that's a different thing than a style. I think it'd be important for people to start trying to make it to distinguish the difference, because I think trying to actively pursue a style is, maybe it can help in certain instances. Anything that changes up, maybe if you're stuck in a rut, it can help. Whatever can change up your routine, but sometimes it can also be a wrench in the gears, and you're forcing yourself into certain parameters that are unnecessary.
Yeah.
Therefore, but finding a brand is a thing, and it could be really important. That's the business element of the art. How do people? But a lot of it, I think, it more so, instead of actively pursuing a style or a brand, what you do is you have to actually take a step back, look at your art, look at what you do, and be like, wait, okay, so what's something that is? Ask friends. What's something that when they see your art, how do they know? If they're like, if first ask, would they recognize your art if you had it in a group show? And then ask them, okay, what about my art is the thing that you notice? What do you see? Like, what stands out that's like, oh, that's something Sarah would do. That's something Mike would do.
I think it really helps to talk to someone who doesn't know much about art. Like someone who can just say, like, I remember about a year or two ago, I was just doing a few doodles and my boyfriend walked up to me and he was just like, that looks like a piece of your artwork. Like, he was like, that looks like something you would come up with and design and do. And I was like, why? And then he spoke to me for a little bit about it. And it was realizing that there were specific things that put across me, whereas where it tended to be things where I wasn't thinking when I was drawing. I'd already done what I needed to do, and now I was sketching a little bit. And that's when it kind of came out. So I do think it's important. If you talk to someone who really does not know much about art, but they know you, they will spot things that you won't spot.
They have a set of eyes that not only is a separate set of eyes, but the way that it sees the whole world is different.
Yeah.
And they give you perspective. I give them props, though. They seem to show some varied styles and even exhibitions of dance or fashion. That's cool. I mean, the thing is, the events are, I mean, just go to them. I mean, if they're doing it and it's fun, just do it. Just go. Show up. They'll ask, if it's private, they'll be like, oh, can I get your name, please? And just try to glance a name on that clipboard that doesn't have a line through it yet, and just be like, I'm Mr. This person. And then they'll be like, this person's 73 years old. And then just run in and try to get in with the crowd. They won't make a scene, and they won't go after you. Just
tell them you're with the Artist and podcast. It's fine.
Yeah, they'll be. Oh, geez. They'll be like, I'm so embarrassed. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have even asked. And they'll hand you a platypus, and then you just walk around with your eccentric pet.
Oh my God! Can we do an art show where, like, when someone walks in, rather than giving them like a champagne glass, you give them a platypus? Can we do that?
Absolutely. if we can afford that many platypuses.
No,
absolutely.
we'll just do like little teddy platypuses, but you just like give it to someone, they can keep it forever.
I love that idea. You just hand the person a platypus and then they just have to walk around with it.
It sounds like a sci-fi show where you never explain why it happens.
See, that makes it better. I like it when something weird happens and there's no explanation. I was watching Louis, and there will be, every now and then he just throws in something so random, and now that's just part of that universe. That's just how the world of that show works. In one episode, he's looking for an apartment, and in New York, so he's seeing all these really horrible apartments that are overpriced. And he's in one, and he just looks out the window, and there's a homeless man standing there. And suddenly a van pulls up, and a bunch of guys in like, I think they were like hooded or whatever, like run out, and they grab the homeless man and just put a different homeless man standing there and speed off. And he doesn't address why that happened. That just happens, and the show just moves on, and that's it. Like little things like that. Like, I like that idea. It's like, don't tell me why. Just let it be a part of the universe and make me learn to have to accept it. And that should apply to really all art. That's just a thing. Like in this world, this is what happens. This is the world. You know. Don't let a person get their footing like too much. You know. I knew foreshortening these eyes was going to be difficult. I knew it was going to do this to me. I called it when we picked the photo. I said I'm going to have a lot of trouble foreshortening the eyes in this thing. I should have drawn out some guidelines. I usually don't do that as much, but this was one of those cases. I shouldn't have been so proud. Got it.
I have stumbled into an exhibition during the second week there, looking for my first class hall. Somerset House is next to my campus, and our buildings are linked together.
Nice.
I'm just imagining.
And then you just go in there and you just schmooze.
I'm just imagining my brother just like walking in there and being like, "Where's physics?" And they're like, "Excuse me."
When I was in school, one of my friends, and this was also like my art friend, who's just, God, man, I gotta talk to him. I gotta get him on an episode. He's just this whole other level. Like he's just, every friend that in art all has that thing that like you're insanely jealous about. Yeah. Like, oh, I can do that. I'll never do that thing like they do it. How dare they? God damn them! I hate them. I love them. He's that, and he's with this level of detail that is just beyond. It's just so beyond the detail he'll put into things. Anyways, so I'm sitting in class, and it's not like even the first class. I think this was like the third class, and it was some kind of anthropology class. I don't remember much from it because it was a general kind of class that you had to take, and I'm sure interesting ideas were in there, but like lots of the generals in college, you're for the requirements for the associate's degree level, you're sitting there and you have a professor that's like, yeah, I know you're not interested and I'm not that interested, so let's try not to waste each other's time. Let's just get through this. So it was one of those classes, and I'm sitting there, and suddenly like my friend he just walks in, and I kind of see him, and he kind of looks at me, like nods, and then he just sits down in a desk. And I'm just like, I didn't know he was in this class. That's so weird. Like, we knew each other's schedules well. This is bizarre. And then it's like 15 minutes goes by, and he's kind of staring for a second, and then he just kind of packs up his stuff and leaves. And then later, I meet up with him later. I'm like, what happened in there? What? I didn't know you were in that class. He's like, oh, I wasn't. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I just came in, and it took me about 15 minutes. I'm just like, oh, this isn't my class. I'm not supposed to be here. And he's like, I just tried to find a point in the lecture where it wouldn't draw any attention, and I could just get up and leave without being embarrassed, That's and it stood out to me. Yeah, I still have nightmares about that exact scenario, but regarding high school and stuff. I'll still have nightmares about that, walking in the same class and suddenly realizing you don't remember where the hell you're supposed to be.
I had a nightmare about school the other day. It put me in a bad mood for the rest of the day. I was so annoyed.
Oh, what happened in your nightmare?
I dreamt that one of the teachers that was really cool at school was just saying, you haven't achieved anything since school. You're an absolute failure. And then I just walked into the road and got hit by a truck. And I was like, that sums up school right now.
That's weird, because that didn't even have to take place at the school. That would be a nightmare a person would have about family or loved ones. You still you attach that totally to school. Most school nightmares
It started in school with me failing a test and then walking home and the teacher following me home, telling me that I was an absolute failure.
Following you home.
Yeah.
Following you home. That's insanity. Oh my God, you really do put a lot of pressure on yourself for MC.
Yeah. I know why I had it, though. I know why I had it. It's because around about this time now, I would be finishing university in America right now if I'd gotten the scholarship, and I reckon that's what's caused it. And it's
nice.
Yeah.
No, that's good times. I realized when I started my gallery in Oakland that at the end of this year, if I instead was in some other field and stayed in school, I would be a doctor this year.
Oh God.
That was a weird feeling. That's exciting.
And yet we just sit here and we draw stuff on the internet.
Yeah, you get to my age, and you're like, yeah, I remember when I graduated high school 14 years ago. Because that's how long ago it was. 14 years.
That's how long.
My length of time that I graduated high school will be getting a learner's permit to drive a car next year. Like I have friends that like they'll have kids and the kids can speak to me in 2 languages. I can't even speak 2 languages. They can communicate with me in 2 languages. You know, yeah. Best not to compare ourselves around. We have our own set of accomplishments. You know,
we draw stuff. Fine. People think that we're made of magic, so that's all right. They're like, oh my God, you make stuff.
I'm so scared though it's going to turn into that thing where people will eventually be like, oh, you're still trying the art thing. That's cool. Like, oh, it is cool.
I think I get that already with random friends who I haven't, like not friends, but like acquaintances that I haven't seen forever. And they're just like, oh, you're still, okay. I mean, yeah.
No, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. You do that. Yeah, you're always really cool. You're always really good at drawing. That's awesome. Yeah. And they'll be like, yeah, so I'm gonna be turning 33 next year. Probably gonna retire. Like, oh, shut up. Wait till I get my career started. It's a different life path. That's all. You know, we're rich spiritually. You know, that's what it is.
That's what I'm gonna tell everyone at MCM.
I had someone tell me once. They were like, well, the thing is, he's like, all these people, because you're gonna ask yourself, are you making the right decision? They're all gonna. I think I mentioned this before, but like, eventually they'll turn 40, and then they'll be like, oh, I wish I had tried the one thing. And he's like, you're doing that. This was when I was younger. This was when I was like 24, and he's like, you're already doing it now. So really, it seems weird because you're going through your midlife crisis early. I'm like, oh, that's good.
Oh, great. Brilliant. Achieving.
Yeah, achieving.
Oh, you know what, right? Field. This Syntake, it just like attracts dust. It's so annoying.
Yeah. I have some things that do that too. And I have things that have like buttons. Like, I found that certain just different electronics, if the buttons aren't exactly a hard, smooth plastic finish, they just have a dust you just can't get off them.
Yeah, it's just like, what is this?
Yeah, it's really weird. I think they owe us an apology.
My brother just put, whenever I'm asked about Sarah by someone and I say that she's an artist, the first thing they ask is, but does she make any money?
That never goes away.
Yeah. Brilliant. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you, David.
Wait till, I've been running a gallery in Oakland for approaching 6 years, and I still have to, because my dad will help with the bookkeeping, and I still have to explain to him every year. He's like, you see that you always have that brief kind of lecture where he's like, okay, the point of a business, Michael, is you're supposed to earn money. And I'm just like, no, that's not why we're doing it. Like, why would I earn money? That makes no sense.
Why would I do that? Why would I want that? Oh my God. Demand Man says, done, posted in thread number 3.
What? Dude, come on. I haven't even... How do you do anything? That? Okay. We'll do it. Okay. We're going to show that in a minute. I'm still finding my groove here.
Oh, Pallygasm has finished as well, who was doing the stream.
Oh, yeah. We should totally show their thing. Yeah, they're rocking a stream on Twitch.
Oh, Demand Man, that's cool.
Oh, I can't wait.
I like the red, actually. I like the red.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit that up right now. Which thread is it in? The Artist Lounge or the
actual RedditGetsDrawn? Yeah.
Okay, let's check it out.
Allison's like, how are you already done? Yeah, we say that every week.
Yeah, every week. Every week we ask. The magic man of mystery. All right, here we go. This is Demon Man or Demon Man, however we feel like pronouncing it. One day I'm gonna have him just record audio of him saying his name, but I don't know. You know, I don't think I want to know. I like the mystery.
It's a mystery.
Yeah, let's see. Let's keep it as a mystery. I love it. He can always do like 4 paintings in the amount of time it takes me to sketch out one.
It's ridiculous.
But I love that idea because they're kind of they remind me kind of like that Billy Childish kind of thing. The what was the name of there? What was the name? The Stuckus art, where you just get there, you just get the mood of it, and you just lay it down. You know, you don't overanalyze, and you just get it. You get that feeling. It has all that fresh, raw energy of the paint. We should try to have an episode. We should try to have an episode where we try to resolve a piece before Demon Man does. But like they have to like be finished works, and we just that's like a race.
No, I wouldn't
celebrate
be able to
some
talk,
episode
though.
of that.
I'd have to not talk.
That's a good point. I don't think I could talk and do that either.
No, there's no way. I'd have to like completely like shut my brain down and just be like. That's the sound of me working really hard. Ugh, lines. I'm just like throwing random lines at this picture and being like, that'll do.
I may have accidentally hung up on the podcast as opposed to closing the window. Let me resort myself out here as we let me sort my life out as we go back here. Yeah. I was like, I'm like, yeah, let me close that, and then I just see that I click like the hang up button.
It's oddly quiet. What's going on?
Oh, Mike, you done goofed. Let's just be glad I did it and you didn't do it, because then if you did it, that would have been a problem. Because then the whole thing would have collapsed.
I'm not awake enough. I'd just be like, oh well. You'd
be like, that's where that one ends.
Goodbye.
See you guys. Here we go. Let's get that back up there. There we are.
Do I want to do this in color?
So we're showing his piece, and I had someone else. Let's give a shout out to Pallygasm and give a shout out to their Twitch. Yeah. Their Twitch is twitch.tv/Pallygasm, PALLYGASAM. I hope it's okay that we're giving them a shout out. Showing off their work. They draw live as well. Let's throw it up here. I don't know. I don't think. Maybe I'll get a cease and desist letter later from Pallygasm's lawyer. I'd appreciate it if you did not promote my art in my channel as well.
Do you mind?
Do you mind? Seriously, come on. Try to be professional Funisher. No wonder you don't make money at your gallery.
Oh, no.
You're a failure, and then they follow me home from school.
Yeah, and then you throw yourself in front of a truck. There you go.
Oh, I forgot about that part. It just kept getting worse in your dream. It just kept getting worse.
But the thing was, I chose to do that last bit. I was just like, I'm done. Like, that was like, I didn't know I was dreaming, but I was just like, yeah, no, you're right. And just walked into a dream.
Oh, my God. You see, my high school dreams are the more simple ones. I have that moment where I'm walking the class, and then I realize I don't know what class I'm supposed to. Mine are pretty much like first day of school, and they're walking to class, going, "I don't know what class I'm supposed to be in," and then being like, "Where's my schedule? I can't remember. I'm gonna be late." And then going to my locker, and then realizing I forgot my locker combo, and then just like, and I can't put it together, And then I usually wake up.
I have mental dreams. I have like the most ridiculous dreams. It's unbelievable. Like the Chronicles of Geyser.
Yes.
That was a dream. I dreamt the whole thing. I was like, write it down. I dreamt.
That was a dream, huh?
Yeah, that was a dream. I dreamt up like it was like 2 dreams, and I combined them together. And then I dreamt up an entire card game the other day with all of its rules. I had bloody wrote the whole thing down. I was like, I'm going to make this.
Oh, so you have dreams that are like creative ventures to go on. Like your dreams are like.
Well, the thing is, like, they're really imaginative and like super detailed. So if it's a good dream, it's really helpful for art. If it's a bad dream, I'm going to be in a bad mood for a while.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. I guess there's the sacrifice. It's just like, but your dreams are for the most part could be really constructive. Like if you're an engineer, or a physicist, your dream could be like, all right, sir, listen up. Like it's like you're the universe brain talking to you, and they're being like, all right, listen,
let's sort this out.
Fuel waste way too much, and if we want to get to Mars efficiently, we got to find a better way to do it. I'm gonna show you how right now.
So are you saying that if I had a proper job, I could use my power to like save the planet, but instead I make artwork?
Unfortunately, we are just a couple of stupid artists, silly doodles. And we're just letting all that potential of the universe trying to tell you things just go to waste.
I know, it's a shame, isn't
it? Unbelievable.
Oh my god, my brother just said, in my nightmares, I forget who I am.
Oh, that's pretty exciting. You know what the last nightmare I had?
What?
My last nightmare is I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, I'm just hanging out. And then I look at my fingers, and then my fingers are really big. And then my fingernails are like really large. So the cavity between my fingernail, my finger's big, and I just start pulling centipedes out of them.
Oh no. Why would you tell me that?
I swear to God, that was a dream I had. But they were kind of like jelly, brightly colored, weird ones. And it was more just like, this is weird. And then I woke up. And I was like, some dreams are obvious. Some dreams are like, I can't find my way out of this bathroom. I have that dream every now and then. And then I wake up and it's like, oh, I need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I can't figure out the centipede dream. I didn't wake up and be like, oh, there's centipedes in my fingernails. Like that didn't happen, because that would have been bad. Oh boy, I don't think I would have handled that. I think I would have just been done. No one would have ever seen me again if I woke up to that. But
Meta Baron's asking if I said truck. Yes. Meta Baron, I feel like you make fun of me saying stuff like every week.
Truck. What did you say truck in regards to?
I walked into a truck.
Oh, yeah.
In my dream.
What's wrong with saying a truck?
I don't know. Maybe I say it funny.
Do you say truck?
Truck.
You say truck just fine. Is truck like a word that's... Where's Meta Baron from?
I don't know. Maybe he says truck. Or truck. I don't know. I'm making up stuff.
I'm so glad that that Allison is back joining us again.
Yeah.
This is some good times.
I'm gonna steal the man's idea.
Oh yeah? That's how art works. You pretty much just gotta take it.
That is actually how art works. There you go.
Yeah. This is my idea now.
Exactly.
I like to think of it more how like sampling works with hip hop. You just like, I like how that sounds. I'm gonna put that in my record.
I absorbed it. It's mine now.
Mine. I created this.
I did this.
I did this. Oh, my Lord. I feel like, I had a weird moment this week where I was drawing, and like for these, I'll start with a 2H pencil, which is the harder lead and draws a little lighter. And I was using that, right? But when I went back to drawing my the Pretty Girls Ugly Faces, it had been a while since I'd drawn there, and it was interesting because when I went back, I used to only use the number 2 pencil, like the classic school number 2 pencil, which is a softer and a little darker lead, and I would use that and my like an 8 or 9B graphite stick, so really soft. And it was interesting because I think it went better. And I'm actually, as I'm doing this drawing now, I kind of wish I used the softer lead in the beginning. I think I've been a little too cautious with these lately. And it's like, oh, it's more erasable when it's a hard lead. But I think it turns me a little bit into a wuss. And I think using that soft lead helps a little bit, And I don't know if I want to switch to it now. It's a little late for that now. But I think next week if I do the same process. I think I'm gonna start with the number 2 pencil instead. I think there's just softness. I just think the softness of the lead, something about it, the way it just moves. And I didn't realize it because I hadn't drawn with a number 2 in a while. But there's something about it. It just really moves, and I'm kind of liking it more than the hard lead. I'm finding myself feeling like I need to erase more and make more adjustments with the hard lead. And I don't know if I'd do that as much if it was soft lead. So, take that for what it's worth.
I just bought a Palomino Blackwing.
What's that?
You don't know the Palomino Blackwing? That's I believe it's the pencil that Chuck Jones used.
Whoa. I didn't. What makes it special?
It's supposed to be the shape of it. It's got a flat edge on one side that it flattens out to completely flat, so that it doesn't move when you've got it sitting next to you and stuff. So it can't roll. And it's supposed to be the smoothest and most buttery feeling, but really quick. That's kind of the idea that it's described as. But in the golden era of animation, it was the pencil that everyone used. So all of my pencils were dying, and I thought, if I'm going to buy anything, I might as well buy something nice and special. So I got myself a Blackwing. So I'm excited to try that out. I ordered a nice pencil sharpener so I can use it. Because obviously pencils arrive non-sharpened. But my sharpener hasn't arrived, and I'm really hoping that it arrives before MCM. Otherwise, I don't have pencils.
Oh, heavens. I think you're going to take that pencil and start using it, and it's going to work for 5 minutes, and then it's going to stop working for some weird reason, and you're going to try to fix it, and they're going to tell you, oh, did you order that on Amazon? No, we don't distribute that pencil through Amazon.
Oh, no.
You need to get it.
Don't, I can't deal with it. Stop.
I think a pencil suddenly stopping working like that would almost be a magical experience, though. Be like, oh, this really is a special. I've never seen a pencil break like this, where it just stopped drawing.
Just gives up. It's done.
It's just like, I see the lead right there, and it just won't do it. I draw, and nothing comes out.
That's one of them Spider-Man comics, isn't it?
I don't know.
There's a little thing of Spider-Man, and he's like, my pencil doesn't work. Dear diary.
I should probably read Spider-Man. I should probably read most comics.
Why?
Well, I don't know. I get distracted.
No, not that. No. Huh? My art was having an issue, and I figured it out. It's alright. It's fine.
It was the art. It's all the art's fault.
It's all the art. Always the art.
Well, we are just a conduit for the art. Actually, it's kind of funny. I make fun of that, but that's kind of like what I believe in. But
that's your legit thing.
Yeah. Not so much as a conduit. I'm not a spiritual man. And there's some things, if you tell people, they just there's things immediately people will just be like, well, you're a horrible person. If you tell someone I don't have a sense of humor, nobody admits that. That's a weird thing. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that. I've heard people say I'm a terrible person, but I've never heard someone say I have no sense of humor. That's weird. That's people don't know how to take that information. It's kind of like if you were to go up to someone and say I don't really like the outdoors. I mean, that's pretty rare when someone can actually admit that. I don't, people will jokingly say on Reddit, I don't like going outside, but someone just to straight up just be like, yeah, nah, nature.
Nah, I'm right.
I went and I saw this beautiful scenic view from a hike, and I felt nothing, That's weird for people. And I think in a certain sense, if you tell people that there's not, particularly if you're an artist, that there's not really a spiritual side to you, not in a religious sense, but a part, this grander part trying to reach into the human soul thing, they feel weird about it. I like maths and sciences. I don't know what is the universe not enough? Do we need more than the universe? Right? Is that not enough for us? We need to assume that inside of us there's just a magical fairy sprinkling magic dust everywhere in us.
Oh, no, it doesn't come from that. It comes from trying to understand the world around you, doesn't it?
That's just a human experience. Is human not being enough? That's my question, chat. Is it not enough just to be human, right?
I think
it's pretty freaking special to be human.
I think there's many reasons why that's a part of our world. I think it can give comfort I think the biggest thing for me when I see why someone might believe in it is when you see someone lose someone really important to them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you want to know that they're okay. If that makes sense. I think there's a lot of different reasons like that.
But that feels like more still in the kind of, I don't mean in like that religious sense. I mean, it's out there. It's been out there forever. Like I couldn't just sit here and just say they're wrong. I'm 32 years old. This has been around for thousands and thousands of years. I got nothing on that. I got nothing on it, you know. But I almost do get confused sometimes by a certain stigma where it's kind of like, sometimes I feel like the goal is to just remove any the kind of spiritual associations out of art, and not in a way that makes it less genuine, but in a way where it's like I don't want to cloud it with my own ideas. Which I don't know. Maybe I'm not good at. I'm not a writer. You know, I'm not good at articulating these things. But I don't want to get in the way of the experience by making an assumption about something that there's no tangible aspect. I just want to make the thing and then let that do the work.
Oh, sorry.
What was that magical sound?
That was the beautiful sound of my alarm.
Oh.
I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know. Damn it.
Is this going to be well, I mean, you're not obviously going to tear up the Cintiq, but are you having an art battle right now?
I'm having an issue.
Oh.
Because I don't know what I want to do about the colour.
Oh.
I'm not sure that I actually want to go in and paint it all properly.
I think I'm just going to do the blue of the hair, aka in my eyes, the purple of the hair, and leave it simple as that. I do want to get to a pen and ink stage in this. I wish I drew this a little smaller. I went a little large, and this is going to take a really long. I'm going to be up late working on this now. That was a big mistake. Yeah, but this probably really cuts off about right there. I should get more loosey-goosey with my art. This is ridiculous. Loosey-goosey is the art term for not drawing with a stick up your butt.
I'm looking through chat to see if I've missed anything.
Probably missed everything. They're going to be like, what's Mike talking about with his weird things? Does Mike have no feelings? Does the man feel nothing?
No, you only feel hatred for art.
I only feel pure, intense, deep human hatred.
Yeah.
It's like there will be blood. Just
Why can't I make
I don't like most people.
Someone explain to me.
Why what?
There we go.
I can explain. This one's a battle. I know. I looked when I first looked at it. I thought of the few things where I'm like, I know what's going to make this really difficult, and a lot of it has to do with the 3/4 angle.
Well, why did you let us choose it then?
I warned us in the beginning. I said this is going to be a doozy. We are going to really struggle with proportions on this one. But it's because her features, like, they just line up perfectly. It kind of blew my mind when I looked at the photo. I was like, why is everything on her face perfectly in alignment? That's weird. Like, usually there's something off, there's something I can be like, okay, there we go. I can focus on this. But this is just like, a 3/4 angle and everything matches up perfectly. This is going to be a nightmare to draw.
That makes no sense. That literally makes absolutely no sense. I don't know what you're on about.
No, it's because when it's all lined up perfectly, it's that much easier to see. When someone's face, their features are just like, well, everything's in order, like everything works. Then it's way harder to draw because anything that's off becomes super noticeable.
Yeah. I know what you mean. think I know what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to play around with black and grey a little bit.
Oh, grey. Is that for the lower part of the hair that's grey? I was joking earlier, my color blindness, I couldn't tell if the hair was blue or purple, but fortunately it was clarified in the title that the hair is blue, but it almost looked purple to me, whereas the sea green element of the hair lower looked gray to my stupid colorblind eyes.
Because you are a blind person.
I'm so blind, it's not even funny. In the wing, this is so awesome. Oh. Well, that could be referring to something also in the chat that I missed. I'm going to assume it's towards the podcast. Hooray!
I'm going to assume it's us, because we're amazing.
Yeah, it's got to be that. I don't know what else it could possibly be in reference to.
Oh, Matt Barron says, what was the problem with your Cintiq in the end? Software or hardware? I'm thinking of getting one myself. So basically the issue... We don't know what the issue was with the first one. But the later ones, it was an issue with the connector between the computer and the tablet. And I tested it. What they told me to do was to get different monitors and plug them into every HDMI port in the house until I found one that definitely worked, and then start trying to recalibrate it and stuff. And then by doing that, I figured it out. And then I took it to, so basically they said, if I'd bought it from Amazon, they wouldn't give me, well, they'd barely give me any help, right? So they were just like, well, you bought it from Amazon, it's broken, send it back to us. They wouldn't give me any support, really. It wasn't until I said, I have bought this direct from you. And they even said, it's broken, send it back to us. I was like, it's not broken. There's no way it's broken. This is the third tablet in a week. It's not broken. Just help me fix it. And they were like, all right, fine. Mm-hmm. So they wouldn't give me the support, basically, that I deserved. And we discovered that it was an issue between... There's like a little connector. If you use a MacBook, you can't plug it direct into the MacBook. You have to get a stupid little connector. And they won't tell you which one to buy. They're basically like, figure it out yourself. So I went to the Apple store and they told me to bring everything in, the laptop, the Cintiq, anything that I had, and they set it up for me. And they tested the Cintiq on their machines first, and then they set it up on my machine, and they found a little connector that worked. And then they were like, there you go, there's it all set up. And then they let me go home. So they turned the whole thing on and calibrated it and did everything. They were amazing. Like, Apple Store, boss. But yeah, basically it was an issue with the fact that I'm plugging into a MacBook, so I needed an extra connector, and Wacom wouldn't help me with it. So yeah, that was weird. Sometimes a little bit of customer support helps.
It's nice when you actually do have the brick and mortar option to just bring the thing in, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, the Apple Store were amazing because they were just like, because Wacom was like, oh, it's a Mac issue. And I was like, it's not a Mac issue. So I rang up Apple and they're like, well, it's not a Mac issue, but bring it in and we'll fix it for you anyway. And I was like, you guys are bosses. I can hear you frantically typing.
You know me. That's how I roll. I had a weird experience where I'm so used to a lot of, you know, when you buy, because I'm in PC land, and in PC land you don't tend to, you don't have customer service usually with anything.
Mm-hmm.
And a long time ago I bought like a Dell laptop, right?
Yeah.
And I had a weird problem with it. And I called their customer support. And I was expecting them to say, like, okay, you have this issue. Send it back to us, and we will fix it and send it back to you in 9.5 months, in which we won't have a computer. Because that's what I'm used to. But instead, they actually, they're like, oh, we can get a guy there. When time works best for you? And I was like, huh? And then they actually had, a guy actually, like, came over and then, like, to my house and fixed it. He's like, yeah, I just need a few minutes, took out his tools. and then fixed it. And then I mentioned something about that. I'm like, I don't know if I like this thing about it. He's like, oh, okay. And we like I had like an older one, and he's like, oh yeah, that was like a great model. I really love that one. I'm like, yeah, it was really good. He's like, yeah. And then we talked for a bit, and then he left. And then he called me back, and he was like, you know, he's like, you had just mentioned how there's this aspect of this that bothers you. He's like, and then he goes, he's just like, you should like maybe look into these ones if you ever want to exchange it. He's like, I just want to make sure that like you feel good about the one you have. It's like, he totally didn't have to do that, you know. He was just like,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was so blown away. I was not expecting it, and to this day, I regret that I couldn't. I have horrible with names. I couldn't remember his name because I was like, no, I would have like totally at least gone online or something and given him a good shout out to, you know, been like, hey, this guy was really great and was super helpful, and given him a shout out, and I blew it. And I never could, but I still remember this day. It's like, man, that dude was awesome. Like, I was not expecting that kind of service. It totally blew my mind.
That's really cool.
And I have not received that level of service with anything in my life since.
Yeah, Matt Barron's just said that's really odd given the popularity of Macs in the art world. Yep.
Yeah, you would think that it would just work. I mean, when you mention that, it kind of blew my mind that they're getting worse about they're not catering to the professional creative field like they used to. Tim's struggling with trying to find, you know, he does film work and he's works a lot of video editing and whatnot, and he's been talking to friends about it a lot, but how they are catering more and more to a general consumer, so their professional line, it's going away. Like
Apple even. Yeah, no, and there's also an issue where, like, the Cintiq is ridiculous, right? The wires for this bloody thing, oh my god. So you need 3 ports to plug into on your computer to get the Cintiq to work, right? No, 2 ports to plug into on your computer. It's got 3 prongs that come out. And the Mac doesn't have one of them that you need, which is why you need this connector. But also, Apple is moving towards basically forcing everyone. They're like, we want everything to be wireless, essentially.
Yeah.
So they're trying to force everyone to move wireless by just not putting ports on stuff.
Yeah.
That's not helpful.
No, they're moving away from it. I mean, I have these, you know, dabbling with like some kind of music stuff. I'm not a musician. I have no musical talent, but I like to dabble, just to clarify. But I have these things, and I'm plugging in all this stuff into my computer, and I'm plugging it into my desktop. So there's plenty of ports. But I thought about it, and I was like, if I ever need to get like a laptop to do this on that kind of scale, PCs will still always kind of have that market for that. But I mean, if I wanted, I wouldn't switch to Mac now because of it. Like, they're dropping the ball. Like, if I have something, if I got, you know, 3 USBs and then audio inputs I need to plug in, and it's not there, I'm not getting the computer. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't pay that much for a machine that I can't do the basic work with.
Exactly. And it's really annoying because I love Macs. Like, I know they're kind of overpriced and all that, but I do actually really love using like Mac OS and all of that lot. So,
well, they're about the functionality.
The Apple Store, as we know, is bloody amazing. They are bosses.
They got their weird clear plastic staircase at the one by my work. I'm with MetaBear and PC Master Race forever. Build your machine. That's build a PC is how I built my computer. Never looked back.
I'm looking at David's gaming PC that he built. It's opposite, man. It wouldn't even work. The Cintiq wouldn't even work on that.
Wow.
Yeah. It was just like, God damn it.
Op is enjoying the podcast right now.
Huh?
Jenna is the Op. Jenna Wing.
Oh, nice.
Who's also an artist herself. Has won RGD awards for both art and the photos she submits.
Oh, very cool.
This photo pretty much immediately jumped out once we started looking. We're like, this is a good photo. It was like not even, usually it's a little bit of a fight. Not a fight. A fight's a strong word. It's more of a complete bare knuckle brawl to which one we're going to do each time.
Yeah. But both of us just went, I like the blue hair one.
Yeah, there was no debate. Usually it goes like this. Sarah says, I like this one that's interesting. And then I go, nah. what about this one that doesn't have interesting things in it? And then that's how the fight kind of goes.
Yeah, I'm like, I like this one with like 3 horses in it, and they're fighting over who gets to be the best horse in the land and rule with Odin. And you're like, I want this picture of just a person's face as close to the camera as possible with perfect lighting and crazy hair. I'm like,
yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what I choose.
And then I'm like, dude, add a bird into it.
Yeah. Oh, how dare you? If we could get some birds and animal headdresses and barefooted female figure in landscape in the mid-ground.
The hilarious thing is, like, you describe things that you hate. I'm like, I really like those.
It's not even necessarily that I hate them. They make for good imagery. It's just that I've seen it so much. So much. But then also, I still stand by my argument that so much of the art that I see that's really good, I'd like it more if most of the stuff from it's removed. There's that post on Reddit that was on the front page of like the guy in the kayak and the whales, and then like there's like the iceberg and the kind of upper half kind of through the mist. And it's like, man, if you got rid of the dude and the water and the kayak and the whales, and then you just had this kind of hinted mountain range that's like very beautiful and prominent, and then it just faded into that whiteness. Oh, that would have looked so cool. I got downvoted in our art once because someone uploaded a photo of the barefooted female figure in drapery on a minimal beach. And I'm like, all right, I'll let it slide this time. But then in the background was like a castle that they photoshopped in the mist. And I was like, what? Why'd you do that? And I'm like, I wrote a comment. I'm like, does anyone else here think it would be more interesting without the figure or the castle? And it was just like, downvote city. Like, I guess not. I guess I'm the only one. Fine.
I think you are.
It looks so beautiful with just like the very subtle sand into the water, and then there was no horizon because of the mist. It was just the color and everything was just so subtle and beautiful, and then they had to go like add stuff to it.
There was something actually sort of related that I wanted to ask you about. I was in, I think it was RR, and something hit the front page, and everyone was freaking out about how amazing it was, and then people were like, oh my god, I can't believe they've done that. And they were saying that because the person had it in a gallery, they were basically selling art prints of it for like $300 or something.
Yeah.
And they were saying, oh, art's only for the rich and stuff. I was wondering, seeing as you work in the gallery kind of world, and you know that kind of world a lot better than perhaps I do or they do, what's your opinion on that?
That art's just being for wealthy people?
That combined with people selling art prints of stuff for like $300.
I think some of the prices that people charge for things is ludicrous. I mean, once it hits a certain market level, what you're doing is, because the goal is, the business end of it is, how much can I sell this item for? In other aspects of business, kind of one approach is not how much can I sell this for, but it's how many can we sell? Like, how low can we make the price to how many can we sell? Like, they want the user base. When in art, it's the exact opposite. It's how much can I sell this item for? What can I get away with? I think the way that a lot of prints are priced in the fine art world are insane. I think they're wildly overpriced. But they are, it depends on the type of print. You know, some prints will be, it will go to a print studio and there'll be people putting the ink on a plate, brushing it off, doing the burnishing, rolling it through a press. It's pretty labor intensive. I don't know if it's $15,000 per print labor intensive, but regardless, it's labor intensive. So I can understand, you know, someone charging, you know, a couple $100 for something of that, like, makes sense to me. What doesn't make sense to me, if someone, you go and it's a print that's not editioned and it's a digital uneditioned print. It's just like, dude, it took time for you to make the image. It took time just to get it formatted to print properly. But now it's done. And you're not editioning it. So trying to charge $800 plus, you know, I've seen these for thousands of dollars. People have sold these for, and it's like, why? Like why would you do that? Like at that point, everyone, you're just paying for a signature.
Yeah.
Being a part of that prestige, but that is not by any kind of standard model of business justifiable. It's ludicrous, and only in this world, in such a tightly unregulated world, that people get away with that. There's places that get in trouble because the model is you sell a bunch and then now the item's more rare, you raise the price. That's actually not entirely an acceptable form of business, because you're not supposed to just be, it'd be like, imagine if you were going to buy, like you're going to a store to buy jeans, right? Mm-hmm. And they have it's stock full of them, and they sell their jeans for $80 a pair. Let's find a middle ground. You can get your fancy pants raw. You can be on our raw denim and be looking at your $300 pair of jeans, or you could be like going to an H&M and buying jeans for $40 or whatever. Let's just say set it at $80. Let's say you go to the store and they only have one pair left. And then what would you do if a sales clerk said, "Oh, there's only one pair left, so these are worth $140 now"? You'd be like, yeah, no, that's not how things work. But that is how it works in the art world. And it's I don't know. I always thought it was a little ludicrous. I understand pricing depending on the medium, the labor it takes, and yes, like the name of the artist being a big name and the demand driving the price up higher. But I don't get behind that run to try to get the value of the art is as high as possible in that particular instance. It's just not legitimate. It's kind of like a market trick. Now they're selling, you said, their prints for like $300. I don't know the background of their prints. I don't know anything about it. I don't know if it was editioned and how expensive each print was.
But it was also fan art.
It was fan art?
Yeah.
And so was it a digital print?
Yeah, I believe so.
I also think that editioning digital art is also, I don't believe in it. People can do what they like, but I think putting an edition on digital art is kind of against the idea of what makes digital awesome. What makes digital awesome is its immediacy and ease of reproduction. Do you mean like digital
prints?
Yeah, I think editioning digital prints, I understand it from a business sense, but I also think it's a bizarre practice because to a certain degree, I feel like you edition a plate because you can, back in the day, it took so much time to run an edition and print. Like I remember I'm in school, I did prints with, etchings, doing the intaglio process, and to make 10 prints took so long. And so I understood the idea. And also over time, the plate wears down. So you can only do so many. And then what you're supposed to do is destroy the plate. You're supposed to put a big X in it or break it or get rid of the plate so it cannot be reproduced or sold. And then what that means is this is how many there are. This is why I'm editioning it. There's no more. And then with digital, suddenly and it was always been confusing to me with photography too. I've never gotten a straight answer how this works with photography. But when you can reproduce the image at any time, you're not editioning it anymore because that's all there can be. You're editioning it to kind of like almost like a diamond cartel. Like you're forcing demand onto a thing that actually doesn't have a limited supply to boost the value of it. And that's always a weird, touchy issue with me. Like I understand the mechanics and the business sense and the business savvy of it, but I never quite could come around to how it adopted what felt like the rules of a different technology to apply it to itself.
So my prints that I showed on stream, and I'll be showing the other two later on, they are editioned. The reason why I'm personally doing it, and I'm not saying that it's a right or a wrong thing to do, I'm just I've got very strong feelings about it, and it's actually something that I am doing this weekend. There's a lot of reasons why it's incredibly helpful. Like, if you think about it, the original reason that you did it was to make your life easier, right? Because it would be too much effort to make the entire new plate again, right? For example. Now, obviously, yes, you can reprint it forever. However, if we go back to the question that we had from, I believe it was Folly Miser at the beginning, how do you know how many prints to print?
Yeah.
Well, I've got to pick a select amount of prints to make.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be reprinting that forever because my market will vanish. So if I'm printing, and I've had this issue before, where I've got something that it does really well, everyone loves it, it's like brilliant, I'll get another 20 of them printed, sells out. Another 20 printed, sells out. Another 20 printed, none of them sell. Because I've moved on from that artwork, my work's gotten better, and the market who was interested in it no longer exists, or has moved on, or is not interested, or can't see me, right?
Yeah.
So now I have an entire block load of prints that I can't shift. Then there's elements of I need to make money, and you pointed out the reasons why it can make it worth more money, which is important. Like if I have to spend, like one of these prints would have taken me at least 15 hours to create, and I'm selling it at like £5, right?
Oh, when you're selling it, it's such like that's such a different kind of price point that it's, you know.
So if I'm selling it at like under £10, which is like under $12 for you guys, then I need a reason for it to be worth more money. Yeah. Otherwise, I never get back the money that it would have taken from a commission, for example, because I've got it, on top of that, it costs me money to make the damn thing. Yeah. So it's like, I need to make that money back. How can I make it special? Like, that's what I think about. I think, how can I make this special for people? How can I make it mean something for people? Yeah. And I try to do that with story, and also now by limiting the amount that there is going to be, then it does give it that value. It gives it a reason. However, because it is digital, I am doing something else, which is that I feel like you can have it limited in one form. That's what I'm going with. So it won't vanish off the face of the earth, because it doesn't vanish off the face of my hard drive, right? If it's on my hard drive, I can print it. So the idea would be that after doing several of these collections, they'd all be printed in an art book, and the art book would be forever be able to be reprinted, depending on demand. The actual prints themselves, I don't want, like, because of the changes at MCM, I now have almost like 200 prints sat in that room opposite me that I can't sell anymore. So this is to get around that issue. So I think there's actually a lot of reason, and I'm sure I'll think of some other reasons when I'm feeling better and stuff, like about why else it's really helpful to be able to do that. But to a little print artist like me, it kind of feels like just because I work digital doesn't mean I should lose all of the benefits that a traditional artist has, and vice versa. Like, traditional artists have the ability to access digital media now. So they should have the ability to get those benefits as well. So I don't know.
Well, I got to add in this. Here's the thing you're doing differently, though, that's making your approach an honest approach. First of all, you're keeping the price point in a fair price point. Like, if you had a line of people buying your print and you were selling it for, £5 each, and then you have 3 left, and the 3 people in line who saw the print go before you in there, and then you said, oh, there's only 3 left, so now they're £10 each. You wouldn't do that.
I'd never do that.
No, the art world does that.
Right.
So that's like, this is why I bring this up in this particular instance.
You're saying that it's the particular manner of the way that it's done.
Exactly. This isn't a medium specific based issue. I use digital as a thing because it's become a strange gray area in the fine art world with digital prints. First of all, you sell yours you try to sell it at an affordable rate for your customer. Yeah. And then you can fulfill a larger demand, and that's the focus. And there's a beautiful honesty in that, and it's great. The fine art world instead tries to force a demand to raise those prices up as much as possible. So whereas you edition it because you say, this is all I can afford to print, and then I'm moving on as an artist, and you're doing an honest, genuine move with it, the fine art world would say, oh, we have this thing that's easy to produce. Let's just try to get the value up as high as we can, and just see how much we can profit. I
guess it's like the difference between it coming from a state of I want to make more money and a state from I'm struggling and therefore want to make a bit more money.
Yeah, and it's this thing where you're not forcing a false demand. You're doing it with an honest and honesty with your own customers or clients and your own fans. What the fine art will do, like here's another thing they'll do, for example. It's very common in the fine art world is let's say you had a print, right? And you printed 20 on canvas, 20 on paper, and 20 on on a board. That's 60 total. And you can edition 1 is 60. There's 60 prints. The fine art world would say each of those is one of 20 prints. So the person buying it thinks, oh, there's only 20, when they don't realize this, oh no, there's only 20 on paper, but there could be 100 more on other mediums.
Yeah.
It's things like that. Those are the things I'm concerned about. It's not so much as the editioning itself on digital, it's just that it's a format that can now be so much more quickly exploited. Now more than ever, we need the honesty in the artist to kind of regulate it. And that's why I think to a certain degree, I like the idea of editioning, because there's two approaches. I like the idea of editioning to say, this is all there, this is how much there is of this, is if you're buying a signed fine art print. There's this many, you own a part of this, it's special. And then I'm also supportive of the idea of saying, I'm not editioning it, this is as cheap as it is, I'm just making them. But the customer has to know the parameters. And you're good at having honest parameters. And what scares me are the people that don't have honest parameters, that try to exploit the resources and push it as far as it will go. So, yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I've seen so many weird, shady things in the art world where I'm just like, that doesn't seem like that's okay, you know. And not particularly with my own thing or where I work in the day, but it's just in the art business in general. Like, my God, it gets like so weird out there.
Is there anything in particular that you think of, or just in general?
Oh, absolutely. But there are things that I have to be careful about addressing, or address it later. Yeah. Tim's right there with me. He knows there's man, that can be a pretty dirty business sometimes. Because he's been in that world for a while. It really is enough to make you sometimes just step back and just go like, is this what I'm trying to be a part of? Is this like am I aspiring to be in this? You know, it's and then you come back to like and I know there's dirty laundry in every single aspect of business. But it's enough to make it, it's like when I come back to like the community here and these things, I'm like, oh, this is nice. Or I go to my studio and with my peeps there, and it's just like, oh, okay. Whew, deep breath, you know. That's the thing is, like when I mentioned the digital thing, I was kind of like, I mean, I know how it sounds on paper when I say it, but I knew like when you address it that there's like, I trust the idea from you. But there are most certainly like people in my past who I would not trust in that situation. And, it's all about just, you know, it's a much more honest medium, like in that field. And as far as the product itself and comics and everything, it's just so much more honest. Yeah, it's weird. There's a lot of wow. One day I'll get into that stuff, but
I can feel you thinking.
It gets so weird.
I think Demand Man put a digital thing in the thread. Let's have a look.
So check it out. I am struggling with an eye right now.
I'm about to do the eyelashes. I'm excited about it. Oh, that's cool. I like that one.
He said he threw down a quick digital one, right?
Yeah, in the RGD.
Let's do a screen share. This time I'll try not to hang up.
Don't do that.
There we are. I like seeing a lot of his drawing too. And I like how we can get, each time we get a painting and a drawing. There's an element to his lines I really like. They actually remind me a lot of if you look at like Warhol, early hand drawn stuff. There's I mean the color, the bold colors kind of reminiscent of that, but like the line work is a loose kind of contour that actually he had nice drawings back in the day before the 80s happened. And whew, boy,
I saw Men in Black 3 for the first time the other day.
what? When did that come out?
No, because Andy Warhol's in it and he's an alien and he's like, no, he's not an alien. He's he's part of Men in Black. He's just like, I am so sick of pretending to do all this stuff. And then someone overhears him and then he has to pretend to be all art. It is the most amazing thing. You should watch that film just for that moment where Andy Warhol walks in and just like pulls off his wig and he's just like, oh, it's amazing.
that works.
He's just like, I am so sick of painting paint cans. It's like
I get so torn up over Andy Warhol. Well, I mean, I don't. You know what's weird is two art critics I really respect and like have completely different viewpoints on Andy Warhol, and it's so fascinating because like one, he loves Andy Warhol, and one just hates Andy Warhol. So it's so funny because that's between Dave Hickey and Robert Hughes. Like Dave Hickey loves Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol, there's this huge monograph that was published. So it was a big deal, and specifically for his work. And Dave Hickey wrote like the introduction and the main kind of essay in the beginning about him. You know, which is a big deal for that. That's like his big kind of staple monograph, and then printed posthumously. And then Robert Hughes just hates Andy Warhol. Robert Hughes is the man that said he had this documentary, The Mona Lisa Curse, that's just so awesome about the art market and all that. And he went to this, I don't remember the collector's name, one of the main collectors who owns hundreds of Warhols. And the way he first phrased it, he's all, in a lecture, he says, he's like, he owns hundreds of Warhols, hundreds. An artist whose piece I would have crossed the street just to avoid one. You know? And then he just rips on Warhol so hard. Like he sits down with this guy, and there's that difference between like kind of collector and dealer versus art critic, you know? Mm-hmm. And Robert Hughes sits down and he's this big Australian man in his kind of deep, kind of, you know, pretentious-y art voice, but you know, I find charm in it. But and he sits down and he just asks him like, what do you see in that piece? And he points at a Richard Prince, and the guy kind of gives it the normal art spiel you would expect. And he's like, oh, okay. And then he mentions Warhol, and then he's like, what do you think of Warhol? And the guy kind of does his whole thing about most important pop artists and the culture and this and that. And he goes, what do you think of him? And Robert Hughes just goes, I think he might have been one of the dumbest people I've ever met. He asked the guy, he's like, have you met Warhol? And the guy's like, no, I never had a chance. I wish I could. And he just goes, I have. He's like, what'd you think? I think he may be one of the dumbest people I've ever met. He's like, he's the only artist I've ever met that had absolutely nothing to say. I was just like, whoa. And then when he leaves, there's the dealer standing in the hallway as Robert Hughes is leaving. You hear a mumble, like something along the lines of like, that guy's one tough cookie or something like that. Wow. It's a beautiful moment. I'll put that link in the lounge too. I'll put the link to the BBC documentary, and I think the Mona Lisa Curse might actually be on YouTube, and I'll link to that. And if not, find a way to see it, Netflix or whatever. It's good. I mean, what you're watching is a tired critic be tired of the market, so you got to be aware that it's kind of one of those feelings, you know. It's not like a pick me up, but it's also kind of like you might even feel a little bit like whatever, old man, you know.
That's what I think whenever you talk.
I had a feeling. I was even before I finished the sentence, I was going to be like, it's pretty much the crotchety old man like me. That's why I love this man. I'm going to make a really good grumpy old man. I just hope I hope it's kind of like a, aw shucks, here goes Mike again, kind of grumpy, and not a, oh, here goes Mike again, you know.
There's a TV show in the UK, and it's called like Grumpy or Old and Grumpy or something like that. I don't know what it is. And it's just, it's the worst thing. It's just like people above a certain age sitting there moaning. It's like, oh my God.
Is it like a reality thing or like fictional?
No, it's like sort of reality, but they're all celebrities. They're like famous UK celebrities. And they're just moaning about life. And it's like, what is this?
Oh, I thought it would be like a kind of fiction kind of, stories, and it's just old people being grumpy, in which
That's
case
just
I was
people
kind of
being
excited.
grumpy.
I don't want to hear real people being grumpy. I can't stand myself, so I can't imagine spending my time listening to someone else be like this,
How you doing with your picture? I'm going to jump over and have a look.
I'm trying to decide if it's time to go to ink or if I still need to mess around with the eyes more. You know how I am. I'm never quite satisfied. It's always that like, well, let's just let it happen.
Well, just so you know, it is just about 3:40 here.
So how far are we in right now?
So I'm probably not going to want to stay on for too much longer.
Okay. Well, you gotta remember, I rarely finish during the cast itself. I haven't even had a chance to look at how do you guys work so much more efficiently? I need to figure that out.
Media.
Hey, you saw what happened when I tried digital.
Yeah, but that's what happens to all of us when we try digital. You have to learn digital.
Wait, you mean that I can't do this? I can't try a new thing and just be good at it immediately?
I know, right? It's a pain in the butt.
Well, I don't even know why bother learning. If you can't master it on your first try, I don't even know why bother doing it.
No.
I just rather explore random things until I find one I can master first try without any effort.
Do you want to hear a random story from today?
Yeah, of course I do.
I almost burnt the house down today. I wouldn't have been on the podcast if I did.
I don't know why we didn't start with this.
So today, I cooked this meal that everyone in the house really likes, which is like roast potatoes mixed in, cooked in the same pan as roasted tomatoes and pork chops, okay? And everyone really likes it.
Yeah.
But my mom always tells me, oh, you should heat up the oil a lot before you put the potatoes in because then they'll cook crispier.
Let's just say right now your mom's listening and she's probably going to go, oh, here she is, bending my words again.
She's like, that's not what I meant.
That's not what I meant. It's not what I meant.
So I was like, right, so I need to heat up the oil. Well, how am I going to do that? And I think what she meant was to put it on the hob, like on the top, on the grill, and heat it on there. But instead, I put a plate of, I put in a thing of oil into the oven and then put it up to like 190 degrees. And then I heard sounds that were bad, like popping, exploding sounds. And then I opened the oven and just billows of smoke. It was awful. And it was like making the worst sound I've ever heard. It's like if you imagine the sound of a house burning down, like the preparation sound for that is what that sound was. And I'm like, I'm in trouble right now. So I then call out to my boyfriend and I'm like, Dean, what do I do? And he's like, what have you done? And he comes down and he's like, this is really bad.
Well, the thing to do with any type of grease or oil fire is to throw as much water on it as possible. So as much water as you can and throw it on top.
So I was like, oh, should I go get a bucket of water? And he's like,
oh, no.
He's like, for the love of God, whatever you do, do not do that. Thank God that he worked in food and learned this stuff. So
what is it? Is this a baking powder situation or a like smother situation?
What do you mean?
What do you do with a grease or oil fire? I can't remember. How did you get it out?
He said you need a fire blanket.
A fire? That sounds like a very specific thing most people don't have.
Well, the thing is, if it's in an oven, he said you need a fire blanket or a fire extinguisher. Otherwise, you are not touching this. So you stay as far away from it as possible. So he was like, right, we're going to stand here. You can turn the oven off and we're just going to have to wait and not touch it. So we just had to wait like ages until it had calmed down a bit and I could open it just slightly to let the smoke start coming out and let the oven cool down, and then we were okay. But there was a point where I was like, if I open this, it will ignite. And
wow,
my kitchen is made of wood. I was like, we are in trouble.
Oh my God. That is way too close to burning the house down.
I know, right? I haven't told my mum this.
Until now.
Hey, Mom. She's not watching. It's bloody.
I'm gonna hear like a thump, 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 thump down the stairs.
What did you do?
And I'm gonna get excited because I'm gonna be like, it's just like how it is on TV, you know.
Well, the funny thing was that she.
You gonna chase you around with a rolling pin?
Well, the thing was, I had the back door and the front door wide open, like held open, and she's like, "Are you trying to burn the house down again?" I'm like, "You already knew," but I didn't tell her. I didn't go yes. I was like, "Oh, it's just a bit smoky while I'm cooking, so I'm keeping the windows open and stuff." I was like, "Don't ask."
Oh my god. I was kind of picturing the scenario of her running down the stairs in a robe and slippers and curlers and a rolling pin, and then chasing you around. And then I go to your screen, and you guys are running back and forth and fast forward past the camera. And then like one way you're running, she's chasing you, and then you go in a door and you go across the hallway, and then you're chasing her, and then you realize what's happening. You're running back. I was picturing that whole scenario.
The door's always open to like the other side of the corridor.
Yeah, exactly.
No apparent reason.
Yakety sax is playing the usual. But I'll take this. I'll take the irrational wait till the fire's out situation. You know, it's safer. It's the safe route. You know.
You should have seen Dean's face though. He looked at me like, "Oh my god, you've done the worst thing I've ever seen." I was like, "Oh god."
He's already in his head like, okay, well, there's our relationship before she burned the house down and after, and we're like, what's our new life now? What is the new life we start together now? You know.
I think the rule would be I'm no longer allowed near ovens.
It's like no longer allowed near ovens. What kind of like new couches have we talked about that we've thought about like pursuing? You know, we've mentioned we wanted to design a living room this way. Maybe it's time we start pursuing that because we'll need a new living room. And I've always wanted an excuse to buy these shoes, and since I won't have shoes now, I'll be able to finally do that.
Yep. That's a very positive way of looking at it.
Yeah. Just like start again. What new people do we want to be now? I never almost burnt the house down. I did one time make a lamp shoot fire out of the top of it like a volcano, and to this day I don't know how it happened. Yeah, it was like an Easter egg hunt when I was a little kid, and so I did the thing where I unscrewed the light bulb and I just sat the egg on top of the light, right? And that's where the Easter egg was. And then we found it and we take it out and we put the light bulb back on, and I don't know if it was some piece of shell or some weird thing. We turn on the lamp and this flame it was like a little volcano experiment because you had the lamp shade, right? And then this flame just shoots out of the top. Funny enough, our mom runs and grabs a cup of water, and my brother was like, no, because the socket was like burning, like where the plug was. Oh,
yeah.
And then we just take the lamp and throw it in the backyard on the cement and just kind of like, well, that's that, you know. Oh, and one time my stove kind of blew up in a weird way. Like, it didn't completely explode, but a burner, it was in the morning. It was with my good friend and roommate at the time, Andrew, and he's in the shower, and I get up and I go in. He has like a tea kettle on boiling water for coffee, and suddenly it just goes like, I just hear this loud pop and this insanely loud kind of whistle screech, and I look over and there's this blue flame like shooting out of the burner, and it was so hot it immediately burned through the kettle, the bottom, and out the side of the kettle. Like it just pierced the hole through it, and there's still this day there's a hole in the burner. I'll get to that in a minute. But and it was just going like, I was like, oh shit, like, and then the whole like oven is metal, so I'm like, how do I turn it off? Can I turn it off? I can't turn it off with my hand, can I? Like, how do I do it? And so like I think I grabbed a bunch of like cloths and turned the stove off and just stood there like, whoa. And then I contact the landlord, and since this is the Bay Area and it doesn't matter how bad things get in an apartment, they can charge whatever they want. The landlords don't have to fix things. They're like, oh, okay, I'll send a guy. And I get off work, I come back the next day, and the way they fixed it is they took the knob off the stove that turned on that burner. So I'm still using the same stove.
You just can't touch it.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, that light socket started on fire? Well, here, I taped cardboard over it and with a sign that says no. You know, like that's how he fixed it. Yeah, that's exactly what they did. And so it's still the same stove. At any moment, the place will burn down and I can lose everything.
If you die, Can I have your comments?
I don't think I'll be able to save them in time. You know, they're made of paper and there's a lot of them.
Well,
If I can, I'll tell you what though. If I can save them, yeah, they're all yours. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be one of those. I have to save the 3 books that I like that are also the most valuable, and then take my hard drive and run out of the house. I think it'll be one of those situations.
Have you ever set yourself on fire?
No.
I have.
On purpose or accident?
Not on purpose.
Well, I don't know. I'm a guy. Like, I remember in high school, kids used to make each other faint on purpose. So I don't know. I see people on YouTube set themselves on fire all the time. So sure you do. You have friends. Come on now.
No, it was another oven story. So there's like evidence of it as well. So
wow, you sure do light the kitchen on fire pretty often, it seems.
That's why my mom's reaction was, "Oh, are you setting the kitchen on fire again?" So
oh my god!
I had oven mitts on, and I reached into the oven to take out a pan, and I don't know. I guess I touched the side or something, and the oven mitts set on fire and started going up my arm, and I just like freaked out. And I don't even remember what happened. I just remember I was on fire and then I wasn't.
How much? So your whole arm was on fire?
It was like going up my arm. Like the oven mitts were quite long.
Oh, heavens. Did you get severely burned or anything? Or did it go out fast enough?
I didn't even get burnt at all. Although every time I cook something, I burn myself. I've got a burn on my finger right now from where I burnt myself the other day trying to cook eggs. Like, I just wanted to make eggs. That's all.
I'm sorry, but just the image of your day-to-day routine is so comical to me. Here's what I picture. I picture you waking up in the morning, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you go downstairs. You probably slept 45 minutes because you just finished the podcast 45 minutes earlier and you got a comic thing coming up. So you're waking up, you're tired. You go downstairs, and I'm going to make breakfast. And the oven starts on fire, and which lights your arm on fire. And once you get that all sorted out, you're like, okay, no, I'm good. And then you walk over to the other side of the kitchen, at which point you accidentally break your ankles because of mentioning that you hurt your legs walking. And then
no, I did do that.
Yeah, and once you deal with that situation, you're like, oh, I'm gonna go draw. At which point you then break your hands drawing.
Yep, I've done that.
Yeah, it's putting the whole picture together like is just the funniest thing ever in my head. I think that the amount of absolute comedic carnage that you can accomplish within an hour in the morning. Like, I'm not even like, I wake up early, but I don't think my brain really functions until like 11:30. And I think already by then you've probably lit yourself on fire, burned down a kitchen, and at least fractured one bone in your body, like just in your daily routine.
Do you know my secret?
What's that?
I just don't come downstairs. My plan now, right, is I come down. I don't even have breakfast anymore. I come down to get a sandwich at about 1. That's it. That's my day. I just stay in my bed with my tablet and I draw.
That's a good routine right there.
That's how I survive.
That's a good way to survive. I think that's successful. That's success. You found success. You're doing it. You're living the dream right now. I don't know how it feels because every time like you're kind of in the zone and things are going well, like you're so busy you never see it happening until it's gone. You know, that's kind of like the life lesson of it. But you're like you're in the zone right now. Like you're making it happen.
Whilst I make zero money.
Well, I mean, come on. I don't know who makes money. That's old school.
Indeed.
What's that making money?
Hopefully, I will make money this weekend. That's the plan.
Yeah, you'll be fine. People will buy your stuff.
Depends if I can get there without breaking myself.
That's true. Or if somehow the stuff doesn't comedically light on fire. Okay, here's the trick. You just need to make sure that you don't do anything funny. Because if you do anything funny, your whole life is like a slapstick kind of sketch, you know? So as long as you avoid something that's laughable, you should be fine.
Really funny.
Just don't do anything funny, and you'll be okay. You'll survive. But once you do something funny, it's all cream pies and banana peels from then on out. You know, it's
Have you ever slipped on a banana peel? Do you know anyone who slipped on a banana peel?
Yeah, I did, but not it didn't fall over. Yeah, it's slippery. I don't know if it's juicy side down. Yeah, that thing is ridiculous. Yeah, they're slick. I didn't fall over, but I did actually slip on one, and I looked down, and I was kind of blown away because I'm like, oh my god, a banana peel. I fractured my elbow as a kid because I stepped in a piece of fruit and then stood on a ladder, and that was the end of that. You know, my shoes were slippery. I don't remember what the fruit was. I wasn't technically in the tree house. I didn't make it to the tree house yet. I was on the tree trunk ladder to the tree house, and that's where I fell. And I was waiting for my friend. Have I told the story before on here?
I think you have, but I still find it hilarious.
Well, yeah, and I'm facing away from the treehouse, so I'm standing kind of like backwards on the stairs facing out, and then suddenly I'm on the ground and my arm hurts, and that was it. And then I just kind of walk around, and I'm, we're still playing, we're in second grade, so I'm walking around his house, half crying, holding my arm, and his siblings. It's like a dysfunctional family. I was too young to know what dysfunction was. And then like in hindsight now, I think back and I'm like, oh yeah, totally dysfunctional.
Dysfunction.
Yeah, I mean, there's that thing where you're just like, the parents just sleep all day and then really like wine. Like you don't piece it together that they're just tuned out and just drunk at 2:00 in the afternoon with like kids running around screaming in the house. Like you don't piece it together as a kid, right? But and so I'm walking around, and then like I remember at one point in particular, his sister's just like, he introduces me because it was the first time I hung out with him. So that's a good track record. But and then his sister's just like, "Are you okay?" And I was just like, I didn't want to like make a scene, so I'm just like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I just hurt my arm a bit," like half crying. I finally get home, and then my mom's just like, "Why didn't you tell me?" Like, because she's like, "When did this happen?" I'm like, 5.5 hours ago or whatever, And she's like, "Why didn't you come home?" I was like, "I don't know. I didn't know I was supposed to," And then I just like, and then for some reason we couldn't go to the doctor. Like if I had it steadier still, I was okay for a bit. And for one reason or whatever, it took a while to get to the doctor and find out that the elbow was kind of fractured or whatever. But yeah, that's all. That was fruit related. So, just goes to show. I mean that shit's
never
out to
trust
get you.
fruit. That's what.
Don't trust fruit. It's out to get you. It's out to get you.
It is.
If you step on a vegetable, nothing happens. You just go, "Oh, I ruined a perfectly good carrot." You step on a fruit and you're like, all right. Should I
feel like
my shoes?
Carrots fight back.
I think it'd be pretty amazing if you stepped on a carrot and if it like stabbed all the way through your foot. That would be a pretty intense carrot. That would be okay. It'd be like, all right, I see a lot of arguments on Reddit about engineering foods and whatnot. I think when the carrot stabs through your foot, we can all finally start taking a step back and being like, all right, come on, like, okay, all right, do we really trust Monsanto, guys? Let's really think about it. I know everyone was on the fence before, but let's really think it over here.
I feel like there was art that was posted somewhere. Let me see if I can find it.
I think we should.
Fatuous. Yeah, there we go. Fatuous Scribe. So the op from a couple weeks ago has put their artwork on the RGD thread.
All right, let's check it out. I think I made the eyes too far apart, or maybe it's just the angle of the camera on the thing. It's kind of hard to tell right now.
See, I think I've done the opposite. I think I've done the eyes too close together, and it's made it look super manga.
Oh heavens! I gotta jump over and check. Right here, we got the Tim piece. From roommate.
I want to see.
He always just.
Oh, that's well nice.
I know, it's just like so nice and pleasant.
Yeah, I want to be her friend.
Tim always has such smooth lines, and he practices his handwriting and calligraphy. And as my role as a friend and bro, I joke about the feminine nature of his lines. which is not a popular thing to say because it's not PC. But you know, it's kind of like the "you draw like a girl," kind of like the kid joking about throwing like a girl, that old joke. You know, I like to use old-fashioned jokes that will be regrettable later when they're admittedly recorded.
You get away with them now.
We talked about me as a grandpa earlier, and there will definitely be a time where you can go back and it's just like, it's like how Will Eisner has to explain his Ebony character in The Spirit, you know, and they'd be like, it was, you know, because clearly it's a racist character. It's like undebatably racist, you know. So on one hand, the man can be making a comic about the plight of, the plight of anti-Semitism and whatnot, and then at the same time be drawing a ridiculously racist interpretation of a black man. And you know, and in that regard, people will look back on this and they'll be like, Punisher he was just joke about his friend drawing like a girl. I mean, you know, he tried to justify it, but yeah, we try not to talk about him anymore because he just had ideas. They're a little old-fashioned, and just don't get him started. And let's just keep this a good, safe conversation. I want my kids to listen. Kids probably shouldn't listen to most of this podcast because
I don't think so.
Because I was reading a comment the other day. By the other day, I mean literally yesterday. And someone, Joe, I can't remember. It might have been, was it Metabaron? It joked. They were just like, hey, Punisher, you're going to try to avoid talking about sex toys on the episode that Sarah's mom's watching? And I was like, oh, I did do that. Like, I had to remember. Oh, no. That's totally not an appropriate thing to do. Screen share.
I'm going to be doing, a series with Matt, who we had on a couple weeks back, Kyozen.
Mm-hmm.
And his channel is like super PC, like, because most of his fans are like very young or family friendly. Like, it's family friendly, his channel. So I'm just like, there's so mmany things that I can't say that I'm so used to just being like, yeah, whatever on this show.
Yeah, it's not right after this podcast, is it?
No.
Because otherwise I would actually say I would guide you. I'd set a tone that's inappropriate, and then you'd have to like second guess everything you say.
Oh no, don't be.
Because you'd be on this one, and I'd just be like, you know, tonight's topic is pornography. What kind of porn do you find shocking in 2015? You know.
I feel like it would be worse to ask what people liked.
Yeah, well, it would make it worse.
I like adding shiny things.
What internet video have you watched that you wish you could erase from your memory? Let's talk about it in detail. And even now I feel weird, like, even making that joke as someone else's art. Like, I'm okay making these jokes, like, when my art is on the screen, but it feels weird when someone else's is and I'm saying it.
No.
Let's go ahead and erase all the context I just said and put on that, and have a look at Fatuous Scribe's beautiful drawing. And now I still owe art. I owe art to you. Remember, you got to tell me what to draw. I got to live up my end of the deal. They are back in action making art. And it feels so good to see, because in the matter of, I think, a little over 2 weeks, I've seen 3 separate people now on Reddit say that they used to make art but don't anymore. And then I'm always like, why did you stop? And so now, as long as I have 1 of 3 people producing. Wait a minute, though. They were doing the photo. Was it just drawing? That I need clarification.
What's up?
I need clarification from Fatuous Scribe because I thought they were making art. They were making a project. Didn't they say that they? Was it that they haven't drawn as much lately because they were doing the piece with the glowing? I'm confused.
No, oh wait.
I'm confused.
Yeah, I'm confused now as well.
Well, regardless, art's being made. They can clarify it in the chat so I can sort my head out here. And then now I was currently trying to convince someone else that they need to start making art again, but I don't know if it's going to happen.
I really like yours. I like the way you've done the hair and the eyes.
Oh, thank you.
That's right.
I always try to convince people because I see it really common, but then I get sad because I get really into it. If someone says, "Oh, I haven't made art in a while," it's like my brain just goes, "What can I do to make sure that they start making art again?" And then I try to encourage it, but then I get self-conscious because I don't want to come across like I'm suddenly some like stalker on Reddit. You know, I'm always scared that like,
hey, you made the art. Hey.
yeah, they're like, why is this person like harassing me? Why do they keep talking to me? Because that probably happens, particularly if it's like, if it's like someone who's, like if there's like, if there's a woman on there and she's like, I haven't made art in a while. And then I'm like, you should make art. And they look back and I'm just like some guy saying these ridiculous shit on a podcast or whatever. I don't want to I don't want to freak people out. But at the same time,
anyway, it's fine.
I guess. I just want to do what I just want to, I don't know. I think I see, art and trying to make things, it's like reading, just because it's good for everyone to read even if they don't write, and I feel like it's good to just to try to do something creative or even if you don't plan on being an artist, because it still helps you, it makes your eye more mature towards looking at art. You're not gonna, things won't get worse because you're making art or doing something creative. Like
that's right.
It never makes your life worse.
They've said, I'm in theatre and my roommate was the one doing the LED costume piece. Yeah, that's right. That's
where I got mixed up. How's theater life treating you, by the way? Theater is a whole different world. I don't know a lot about that world. I can imagine there being a lot of parallels.
Yeah, Alison was saying a few things before that like lined up with things that you were saying. About the art world and about how people are like, oh, is that actually a real thing, like the job?
Yeah, right. I imagine there's like a lot of that, because especially if you're I'm not sure, it depends on whatever role. You could be working on set design, you can be an actor, you can work in costuming, however. But I imagine many roles, particularly if you're being an actor, people will just kind of give you that look like, oh, good luck with that. Like with theater, they might be like, you're aware they invented movies, right? And then then you have to, do I explain to this person that these are two different things? And you're like, nah, I should just nod.
Yeah.
And then not come to the family reunion next year. No, but I've never actually even been to a family reunion. My family doesn't have reunions because they all pretty much live out here. I haven't been drawing or painting or anything in years. Well, you better be drawing or painting now.
Better be sorting out, man.
I sort that out. Everybody makes art. Everybody has to like the thing I like. How could somebody not have the interest in the exact same things I do? That makes no sense. I'd be curious about the politics of theater. Oh my god, and then politics, you have to deal with actors. Oh. It's literally called drama, and then you're in it now, We always use it as that a bad example. Oh my god, there's drama, get me out of here. But you work in a field that is called drama. Oh my god. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the egos?
It's an interesting world. A lot of things are similar to the art world, just different types of art. Lighting designer, by the way.
You should post different things you do with lighting design into the artist lounge, because I would be very curious to see projects involving lighting design in that world. I think that'd be really interesting.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Because I also think that would be a really interesting influence on artists as well. Because even 2D artists deal a lot with lighting and design. It'd be interesting to see someone who actually sets the environment in a real environment. And as how many illustrators are active participants in all the Reddit art communities, there could be a lot. Everyone could be learning from your experience. Not me. I have everything perfectly sorted out in my head, but everyone else. I got it. I got it all together. That's why I'm always so confident when I'm drawing. I never have to question what I'm doing. This line. Ooh, that did not go. All right. Let's try that line again.
Well, that was immediately after you said, "I'm still."
I was gonna joke about, oh yeah, just like this line, and then I screwed it up as I talked, and I was like, oh no,
No,
I couldn't even joke about the thing.
couldn't even do it. No,
Couldn't even fake do it. The hairline lower. I don't know. This is interesting. I don't know how this one's gonna go. I think it's all right. It'll be fine. I just want it to be good enough where the person looks at the piece and they don't go, is that what I actually look like?
I don't know. With the RedditGetsDrawn, I just have fun with it. To be honest, I get to a point where I'm just like adding random stuff and I have no idea why, and it's just like that'll do.
Yeah. Who tries to have fun making art? That's weird.
I know, right?
Why are you doing that?
How dare I?
You should be deep into your head thinking about all the conspiracies of the art world and how they're all out there to get you, because it does wonders for me. Huge confidence boost.
I think I'm done.
What? Already?
I think so. I think that's as far as I'm going to take it.
I've only been drawing for like 20 minutes.
Well, you need to sort out your time management then.
I'm trying. Oh, heavens. Yeah, that's a thing. Okay. I'm gonna look at your art. Oh my god, I need to sort my life out. I gotta work faster on this stuff. This is ridiculous. Oh, I think we lost audio. Oh heavens.
No, it's okay. I'm doing that deliberately.
Sure you were. Did you have to belch?
No,
You can be honest.
there's a cat scratching in the background. So
I see. Which cat?
Oh, here's something. So Merritt Barron just said, I'm actually not going to say their name just because they're not saying it here, so I don't want to say it on screen. So someone said recently in a post, I turned my flare off a while ago because I don't like the bias it gives when I post art. I like my art to be viewed on an even platform. And then Merritt Barron said, I agree. What do you think?
That's interesting. I mean, well, it's what you. It just all depends on your personal goals, you know. Well, it makes me okay. So and then we have to ask ourselves, why leave the flare on? I leave it on just as a regard to sort of give at least a timeline. Been in the community a while, you know.
Yeah,
I think it's fun. I mean, you know, I'll take any kind of recognition for anything for what it is. I think if you're also interested in trying to get commissions, it can help. It will add a little bit of credibility that you've been recognized on there for a while, that there's an audience, you know. And at the same time, I don't blame anyone for turning their flare off. You know, I think a handful of artists don't have their flare on because they don't want to. They just don't want that to affect how they work in that environment. You know, I think it's an important thing. A person should. I mean, just you know, take your goals into consideration and determine what's best to reach those goals. Yeah, the person he mentioned is an incredibly talented artist.
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, like super talented, and their flair would be significant too. They won several awards. They are incredibly talented and pretty hilarious. I hope to get them on the podcast. I think that can work out. It'll be tricky,
I agree.
but I think it can work out.
Definitely.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah. I don't know. I like my flair because I feel kind of proud of it. And this might sound really, I don't know, it might sound bad, but it's like getting a little gold star. and then I want to like display it on like the front of my textbook and be like, "Yay, I got a gold star." I don't know. I'm just like, it's kind of a meaningless little thing, but it fills me with happiness and it fills me with pride to have it there, and to just be like, I don't know, not necessarily to show off to other people, but to remind myself that I'm good, if that makes sense. To remind myself that other people appreciate it.
Yeah. I think that makes sense, you know, just that thing where you give yourself a confidence boost a little bit,
Exactly, yeah, that's kind of what it is to me.
I guess what we're trying to say is we're enormously
I'm incredibly
have lacks of
vain.
self-esteem, you know, we have no self-esteem. And we constantly are desperately seeking the approval of others, you know.
At all times.
Obviously, at all times.
Tell me I'm pretty.
Yeah. He's like, tell me I'm pretty because my arm is on fire again, and I'm just not so sure about things anymore.
I just can't cope with anything anymore. I'm on fire. Can you please send help?
I can picture... I can picture your boyfriend just getting a text that just from you, it just says "I'm on fire again" and a little frowny emoticon.
No, the thing that he gets all the time is that I'm lost. I get okay. All right, are you ready for this? I get lost incredibly easy, and I think there's actually something wrong with me because I can't. If I want to get to a place, I can't imagine the journey between it. I remember like sections of the journey, but I can't remember the connections between the two of them, right? That gets me in a lot of trouble. So I had to go, there's a very popular like big shopping mall here called Lakeside, and I had to get from Lakeside to the like retail park behind it, okay?
Yeah.
Which involves walking through a car park. And I walked through about 3 different car parks several times. This group of people were like watching me, like, what are you doing? They just every time I walked past them, they got even more confused because I was just walking back and forth. And then I texted Dean, and I'm just like, Dean, I'm lost. And I had this was to get the Cintiq to take into the Apple store. And I'm just like, I don't know where I am. I've got really expensive technology on me, and there's people looking at me strangely. I don't know what I'm doing. And then he had to call me from his work. Like, he's at his job trying to do his work right now, and he's guiding me to the right place. He's like, right, you need to go here. And he's like, what can you see? I'm like, I can see a fence. He's like, that's not helpful. What can you see?
There's lots of those.
I'm like, there's a red fence. He's like, forget the fence. It was the worst thing. And he had to guide me all the way down this road and everything. And he's like, are you sure you're going to be okay? Are you going to find your way back?
Oh my God. There's a fence. Forget about the fence.
Yeah. That was a big conversation. So yeah, I don't know. I'm an issue. Like, in general, I'm an issue.
Oh my God. When I first moved to San Francisco, because I lived in the Bay Area. Well, I don't live in San Francisco, but moved to the Bay Area and live in Oakland. But San Francisco was so easy to get lost in when you first go there, because I lived in Salt Lake so many years, and Salt Lake is shaped like a giant bowl. You know, it's a valley in between mountains because it's in the Great Basin. So basin and range, and the city's in the basin. So you always knew where you were because that would be that mountain range, and the other mountain range is right there. And it was really easy. You always saw the mountains, and if you're on the mountain, you know exactly where you are. San Francisco was so confusing because you go up a hill, and then you could go over the top of the hill, and now you're in a different part of the city that looks exactly the same but is different. And not only did that make it tricky, and you couldn't always it's a peninsula, but you can't always see the water from wherever you are, right? Mm-hmm. But halfway into the city, there's Market Street running at a 45-degree angle. And so picture a grid, and then picture the grid suddenly turning 45 degrees.
No, I don't like it.
And you also travel through San Francisco. You could go by bus, but you're going to be riding the train called BART, the Bay Area Rapid Transit, or on Muni, the kind of local, bus and, light rail system or whatever. And so you spend a lot of time underground going between neighborhoods. So you'll get out, you pop out in a neighborhood, but you don't, when you're first out there, you don't know that neighborhood's relation to the rest of the neighborhoods. So it wasn't until I forced myself to pretty much like walk across the city in all directions that I finally connected the map in my brain to where the hell I am, you know? And it took a long time, because even when I knew then, it's so easy to get turned around there. It's pretty astounding. Yeah, it's kind of like walking through a dream. You're just like, wait, this looks just like that, but I swear this used to be a yogurt shop. And then you go in and the guy's like, this hasn't been a yogurt shop in years, you know, and you don't realize you're just in a different neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would get so turned around. It's ridiculous. I got really turned around in London. I had no freaking idea where I wasn't there.
London's the worst.
I mean, I was only there for like 3 days or something, but I'll tell you, in those 3 days, I have no concept of what the shape of that city was.
I won't go to London on my own, like at all. Not because I'm afraid of anything. It's literally because there's no way I'll ever get out of it again.
Yeah, I live here now. I don't have a place to live, but I live here now.
I think the only place where I never got lost was New York City, because the entire thing's literally a grid.
Yeah.
I can survive with this. I can just look at a landmark and I can get there.
Yeah, you know the number of the street and where you are. Well, that's actually the thing. Salt Lake City is not only a valley with the mountains, but it's also a grid. All the streets are 33rd South, you know, 3600 South. It's how every address is done out there, so it's super easy to get around. Also makes for the city to have a lot of boring design and real estate, because if everything's on a grid, then it's hard to build the variety, you know. Like if you think of like the most beautiful cities in the world, you usually don't picture a city shaped like a grid, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, whatever. I also wouldn't consider Salt Lake one of the most beautiful cities in the world. It has its benefits, but you know, that's more of a landscape kind of thing. God, London was, man, I had no idea.
No.
It's like when you travel, especially when you're in a different country, you're just feeling like you're kind of walking in a dream. Like you don't feel like you're even awake.
I've been to London a million times. I can't get anywhere in London. I can get from Tower Bridge to another train station. That's it. That's it. That's all I can do.
When I was in London, I saw the National Gallery, the British Museum. I walked by the big Ferris wheel. And then God, where the hell else did I go? They were having a book sale by there. That was interesting. And then, well, you know, because it's cheap books. But then I had to tell myself, like, Mike, don't buy books. You don't want to carry a heavy suitcase. Don't do this. You're trying to get rid of books. Don't buy more books. And then, unless they're comics, then buy all of them. What else did I see out there? Went to a pub, had a Fruity. That was interesting. I'll tell you what, when Fruity came out to the U.S., I was kind of excited. I'm a man, and I'll still drink a strawberry beer. I'm not, you know, I'm comfortable with my masculinity to drink a strawberry beer. I didn't expect a bunch of football hooligans to start punching me or anything. It was a cool pub. They had like all the, like, it was like, you know, because everything in Europe can, you know, I'm used to the U.S. where I'm just like, whoa, this business is 8 years old. And then Europe, there's just kind of
God.
It's like this bar has been here since before handwriting. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of an awesome.
I've never heard anyone be proud of 8 years. It's like minimum 10 years.
Oh, I mean, I've seen businesses have signs that say, maybe it's like 10 years, but it'll be like established 2005. Like,
what?
That's an accomplishment for America. That really is, you know, because you could like, I want to see my old elementary school, and it turned into like a Taco Bell. You're like, what? You know,
all right, yeah.
Like, yeah, most of my childhood's pretty much erased. I go back to Utah and like nothing's the same. Even the entire downtown's different now. Like, I think actually, you know, here's the crazy thing. Think of it this way. I go back to Utah, and the only thing that's still there, I'm not exaggerating, the only thing that's still the same is my elementary school. My junior high has been torn down and a new one was built. My high school's gone. Every business I worked at is gone and out of business or turned into something else. It's just and then the entire downtown where I hung out, like all different. They built like this whole new construction project. It doesn't even look. It's like not even the same city anymore.
That's
it's really
insane.
yeah. And then even my old houses, I live like my dad's still in one place, and so that's the same. But then the old house we grew up in, like the people that moved in, it's like completely redesigned. Like everything's freaking different. It is nuts. Like there's nothing there. It's like, oh, I guess I should have taken more photos because it's all completely different now.
That's insane.
Yeah,
I'm thinking we're getting to the point where we should start finishing up. What do you think?
I am not thinking that. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that works for me. I gotta look at the chat here. I haven't looked at it a bit. What's going on in there? Yeah, I like doing.
You're reading.
I am reading. I should be drawing, but I can't read and draw at the same time. And I read slowly because I'm not good at it.
They were talking about the Tumblr posts. And then Meta Baron was like, only stuff above Houston Street is what I can cope with. Yes. Like, it's the grid bit. I can do the grid bit. I'm not going outside of that.
Yeah. You can't handle outside the grid.
No. I'm never going off the grid. Ever.
Let me switch back.
I'll get lost. I'll get lost going off the grid.
That's I think they should just do a thing where they just drop you off in London without you knowing where you are, and you have to like find your way home.
I'll never come home.
Well, it's so funny. Like even with all the avenues of technology and communication, just to see like how long it would take to figure out the system.
No, I've had to call people to come pick me up from places before because I couldn't figure out where I was. Don't do that to me.
Listen, it may be a tragic scenario, but it's still going to be funny. So, I'm still going to take it into. Oh, double voice.
Dude, your sound. Oh, Matt Baron lives in Manhattan. Dude, I almost lived in Manhattan. I love Manhattan. I love it so much. It's like my favorite city in the world. I mean, I haven't been to many cities, but it's my favorite.
That was okay. Now I'm sounding better, right? No double adventure.
There's no double. You're a bit quieter though.
Mm-hmm.
Have you got anything coming up this week?
Sorry, hold on 1 second.
We're holding on. We're waiting. Everyone wait.
Everyone just relax.
Hold up.
Alright, hold on now. I think I got it going now. Maybe? Yeah, there we
I can hear
go.
myself.
That's better.
No, that's not better.
You can't hear me?
I can hear myself.
Oh.
What are you doing? Hello? Is it okay? I think it's okay.
How about now?
Yeah, I think it's alright.
You know what's tricky about this scenario? Is the headphones are about half a second after I talk, and it's going to make me slur my words. Because it's hard to hear it and talk at the same time.
Go on then. What have you got coming up this week, and where can people find your stuff?
Okay, I'm going to talk and say it, but I have to do it without the headphones. All right,
okay.
There, I'm going to have to do it like this. I still have the art in Calistoga at Echo Gallery, and there's still art at Highwire Coffee in Berkeley. And we have going into the second month of the Sean Pacheco and Tom Bunk show. Funny, heartwarming, quick story there. I'm at the gallery hanging out with Sean, and he's working on a drawing, and there's a little kid that came there because he saw the art show we had there a year and a half ago-ish or so, and he was excited for the next show to come. So he came there, and he's looking at all the art, and Sean's just doing some drawing of a weird, disgusting dog with boogers and warts and drool. and he just goes. The kid's there with his parents, and he's just like, "Here you go, have an original." And he just gave the kid the drawing, and it like,
Aww.
man, his face, it must have made his year, because it was almost like being able to see like how I think some people feel when like they first get drawings and they're not used to getting like art, you know. And holy crap, it was just like the best moment ever, because he's just like, "Here you go, have this," and then that made that kid was so excited. That made his day, year, whatever. Best moment ever. He's a nice guy. He did the drawing of the Smurf, or the painting of the Smurf here. This is Sean Pacheco's art right here. This is Shitty Smurf. I bought it off him because I like Smurfs, and I like boogers and drool, and warts and flies. Yeah, so that's going on. You can follow all that at fmoakland.com. That's my space there. And yeah, that's all that's going on right now. Everything else would be like it's too far into the future to to like I can't mention future projects yet because they're so distant that I don't want to jinx it.
Yeah.
Or anything, or it is too early in the stage. But anyways, I can keep posted as that comes. How about yourself?
Cool. Yep, I've got MCM, so I'll show the other two prints. So I showed this one, which is called Dreaming of Summer. Put them there. And I showed this one. There we go. I actually really like this one. This was the first finished piece I did on the Cintiq, and I'm really happy with how it came out, so I like that one. And then the other two, which I didn't show earlier, so I've got this one, which I showed a little bit of on the Ice Lounge. Been edited a little bit since then. But yeah.
How many hours would that take?
This one, this one was kind of complicated because if you remember correctly, with this one I ended up like redoing it several times because I wasn't happy with how it was done. If I were to do this one again now and like know what I want to do with it, somewhere around 12 hours, roughly. Whereas this one was done in 4 hours.
Damn, seriously?
Yeah. So this was done in the space that it takes us to do this podcast.
But okay, just as a reminder as how fast and like efficient and skillful, this is how much I can fit in like that time. This is all I can finish.
Yeah, but we're not like focusing. Like, to be able to do this, I have to sit there and shut my brain off and just work on that and know exactly what I want to do with it. So with it, when we do this, it's a lot different, isn't it?
I don't know. Probably not.
And then the other one I've got is this one. There we go. And then there'll be two more, but I'm just waiting for them to arrive. So I've got these four and then another two designs, and that'll be the Escape series. And then I think I'm only selling 50 of each of the prints. Won't be doing any hiking up of prices when it goes low or anything like that.
Right.
It'll be standard prices for whatever I choose. Pricing hasn't been completely confirmed yet. I'll confirm that on Friday. So MCM is at the London Excel Centre, and just follow the giant Comic-Con signs everywhere all over London right now. Yeah, I think we have a 9 a.m. start, either 9 or 10 a.m. start on Friday, and then it's all 3 days, and I believe it's until 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. each day. So you can come down. I'll have the books with me as well, so you can have a look at those if you're in the area. I'll have the prints. I'll have this guy behind me so you can spot me. Just look for Geyser Ink. That's me.
That's such an epic banner. It costs a laptop with its video card.
Yeah, the laptop I used to make it, once I finished it and sent it off to the printer, the computer wouldn't turn on again. So I took it to my local computer store and I was like, can you have a look at it? They opened it up and there was a massive black splodge all the way across the logic board, the motherboard. And it turns out that this guy made the graphics card explode. Whatever.
Whoops.
Yeah, and then I'll be doing live drawings. So if you remember, I did that traditional piece a little while back. I'll be doing traditional stuff with the pro markers, and you basically, for a standard price, I draw you as you are, like head and shoulders, and then for a little bit extra, you can request to have whatever you want added in. I've got my phone with me so I can look on the internet for anything that I don't know. So I basically, like, someone will say, I want a Charizard in the background with me, so I'll draw the kid with the giant Charizard, and they're like got Pokeballs in their hands and stuff. So I'll be doing that, so you can either come down and watch or get a drawing yourself. Yeah, I think that's everything. Just look out for this guy and you'll find me. If you follow me on Facebook or Twitter, so facebook.com/Geisra or Twitter @Geisra, you can see the map that I'll be putting up. I'll be putting up a map either tomorrow or the day after of where I am in the convention hall, because it is a big convention hall. If you haven't been before, get prepared for ridiculousness. But yeah, I'll put a little map that points to where I am. So yeah, I think that's everything. I'm looking forward to MCM. There's a lot of things that are different for this show, so it's going to be exciting. And weirdly, because so many things have changed, I don't feel as nervous as I normally do. I feel relaxed because I can do whatever I want. There hasn't been any pressure to make anything specific. So I'm interested to see what people think of all the original stuff, because it'll be fully original stuff on the table now. No fan-inspired stuff will be there. So I hope you all like it, if anyone's able to pop by. And I'll try and get some photos. I might even try and film. My camera's not very good, but I'll try and get a little bit of film of the show, maybe put it up on the channel for you guys. Yeah.
Sweet.
People
will enjoy. I hope you like it, you say. Come on now.
Well,
please.
I hope people buy it.
Please do, people, because this is honest business. I gotta take my headphone off. I can't talk when my voice goes right after. This is honest business. Support it. Support the up and coming artists. That's what it's about. Don't even, you can go to the galleries and museums and enjoy the established artists, but now support local artists. Come see the show. Buy a comic. Buy a print. Go to the galleries in your neighborhood. Look at what's going on there. Buy some merch.
I'll have cherry and chili lollipops as well.
On their album, go buy those things directly from them. Slap them high five. Give them a hug, even if they don't want one. Make them do it. Force them. Make it awkward. And then stare at them for way too long. And then don't leave. Wait until everyone leaves the club, and you're still sitting there staring at them until security escorts you out. That's how you support your artists. So,
yeah, I've had
maintain
that.
it.
It's very supportive.
All right.
Subliminal Cucumber says, image going up now.
Image going, let's look at it. Oh my god, I should try to read with my headphones like this. I swear to God, I can't talk with them like this. Oh, this is so weird. Okay, here we go.
Oh, look at that. I love the little detailing along the bottom. I know I always pick out random things, but I really like the little swirly detailing. That's cool. Gives it a frame.
Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go.
What's with the knife? Is that a knife? At the top there?
Yeah, that's an intense knife. That was a switchblade?
That looks like something a ninja throws at people.
We want a knife story. As I screen share this here, hold on. Oh no, I have to do it on this computer because I don't have audio going to the other one.
Oh my god, sort your life out.
You're like, I'm so tired.
I actually feel better. I think this podcast has healed me. Because I was
This is a
feeling really
healing,
awful.
the healing cast.
The healing cast.
I talked about all those new agey thing earlier.
The Earlers. The newer Earlers. The hurling curse.
The hurling curse.
Welcome to the Urges Learn Podcast.
Welcome to /Perkis. People like, Funisher is drinking way too much. Someone told me recently in one of the chat, like, a drunk Funisher. Oh my god, I can't do it. The headphones. They were saying a drunk Funisher is a good Funisher. And I was like, oh god. That's like, I need to be drunk all the time for this now? Oh no. I don't want to do that.
Oh, they use the knife to sharpen their leads. That's pretty cool.
Sure they do. I see the zigzags. They're rolling fat doobies.
Wow. Is that what we're going to finish the show on, really?
No, I'm going to share the art, and we're going to appreciate it. And they're going to tell us how... Because there's actually a technique to sharpening lead, and getting a good long lead from a sharp knife, it can really help with the line work. And it's something I should do and don't. And there's good resources for that online to actually how to properly sharpen a pencil.
Yeah, I think Jack Pens has got some good guides on it.
Alright, now I'm going to share this properly. Did I do it right? There we go.
There we go, it's there.
I really love that on the tone paper, too. The kind of silky waves of the hair.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. It's really cool. That's actually something that's done a lot in manga. Like leaving big white spaces and then having the like strips of white that lead up to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really like that kind of thing.
Yeah. So much variety, just in, even the artists that are just here,
Yeah, I love how everyone... I guess everyone sees everything differently and then picks out a particular thing that they really like and then captures it. I love it.
Well, we talked about, I was mentioning style. Like, everybody has their own style, and you'll know, like, I'm even with the regulars here, I'm getting to the point where I can recognize their art, and, it's just, I'll look at any of the pieces here, and I can be like, this is this person, you know, in a good way. Like, they have a voice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good place to end. Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna try farting, but I just don't feel like it now.
I'm alright. Are you gonna sing us out?
I always do.
Alright, we'll see you again.
It's right as you're saying bye.
We'll see you guys again same time next week. And I'll have lots of convention stories, and I'll look like death. So, see you then.
Goodbye. We'll see you later.